This will be the first statement of its kind in my dozen years as Norfolk District Attorney. The harassment of witnesses in the murder prosecution of Karen Reed is absolutely baseless. It should be an outrage to any decent person, and it needs to stop. We try people in the court and not on the internet for a reason. The internet has no rules of evidence. The internet has no punishment for perjury. And the internet does not know all the facts. What is happening to these innocent people, these witnesses, is wrong, and it needs to stop.
The data don't lie, people do.
We are outraged.
I am outraged.
He told his friends that he hoped that she would kill herself.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. Okay, play.
He told his friends that he hoped that she would kill herself.
Wow. Wow.
He told his friends.
If early on in an investigation, the lead investigator was saying that about the worst of the worst, I still think we'd have a problem with it. I know I would. I would have a problem with it. And that's not how it's supposed to work. That's not how justice happens. That's not how investigations are supposed to happen.
You're certainly not supposed to wish them dead. And I feel as though that shows a certain level of bias, right?
He told his friend.
At the very least, that's not a professional look. That's not what you want from the lead investigator of the case. I mean, from this telling of it, at least, like that's raising my eyebrows. And
Okay, somebody said not to pause the stream. I'm pausing the stream. I am pausing the stream and I am rewinding this.
We are outraged. He was revealing information about this investigation to his friends, assuming that nobody would ever find out what he was doing and what he was saying.
Yikes.
And he was revealing his true thoughts about Karen Reed to his friends, not what he put in his sanitized police reports, his true feelings.
Oh boy.
Lead investigator Trooper Michael Proctor, right from the start, called Karen Reed names you would reserve only for your worst enemies.
What's he gonna say?
His true thoughts about Karen Reed to his friends, not what he put in his sanitized police reports. Trooper Michael Proctor, right from the start, called Karen Reed names you would reserve only for your worst enemies.
And those are?
Called Karen Reed names you would reserve only for your worst enemies.
It's pretty bad.
Names you would reserve only for your worst enemies. Enemies.
It's biased because how are you going to investigate this case with an open mind to see what genuinely happened if you think she's a C word and you hope she kills herself?
I am outraged.
That is outrageous. He told his friends that he had seized her cell phone. And you will learn that he knew he shouldn't have been accessing any content on her cell phone because he knew there would likely be attorney-client communications between Karen and me at that time. He knew that he was supposed to wait for a search warrant or other permission from a judge in order to go through that phone.
Oh, no.
He learned that he went through the phone anyway.
Oh!
He knew that he was supposed to wait for a search warrant or other permission from a judge in order to go through that phone. But you'll learn that he went through the phone anyway, without permission. But you'll learn that he went through the phone anyway, without permission, that he had seized her cell phone. And you will learn that he knew he shouldn't have been accessing any content on her cell phone because he knew there would likely be attorney-client communications on between Karen and me at that time. But you'll learn that he went through the phone anyway, without permission. And you'll know that he did. He told his friends that he had seized her cell phone. And you will learn that he knew he shouldn't have been accessing any content on her cell phone because he knew there would likely be attorney-client communications on between Karen and me at that time. But you'll learn that he went through the phone anyway, without permission. He knew that he was supposed to wait for a search warrant or other permission from a judge in order to go through that phone. But you'll learn that he went through the phone anyway, without permission. This court should be outraged. And you'll know that he did because he told his high school buddies that he was searching her phone for nude photos of Karen Reed.
Get the out of here! Are you serious right now?
Because he told his high school buddies that he was searching her phone for nude photos of Karen Reed. What? And he was disappointed he hadn't found any yet. Her phone for nude photos of Karen Reed.
Oh boy.
What?
I hope they can prove that.
Oh boy.
I hope he can prove that.
For nude photos of Karen Reed.
Oh,
And
fucking
he was
hell.
disappointed he hadn't found any yet.
What?
Is the professional and unbiased investigator who was chosen to lead the investigation into the death of John O'Keefe.
Let that sink in.
That he was searching her phone for nude photos of Karen Reed. And he was disappointed he hadn't found any yet. That
What the fuck
is
out?
the professional and unbiased investigator
Oh
who
my
was chosen
God.
to lead the investigation into the death of John O'Keefe.
Imagine being such a fucking lowlife.
For nude photos of Karen Reed. And he was disappointed he hadn't found any yet. That is the professional and unbiased investigator who was chosen for nude photos of Karen Reed.
What?
And he was disappointed he hadn't found any yet. That is the professional and unbiased investigator who was chosen to lead the investigation into the death of John O'Keefe. You will learn that one of Michael Proctor's high school friends commented to him,
I am outraged. And the reason that he can mention this in opening is because he's got receipts. He's got receipts of this.
He accessed her phone without a valid warrant for the purpose of looking for nudes. So that's just as special on every possible level.
That's oof. All right.
That's the first time we ever heard that before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they extracted his phone. So if they can put that, oh my freaking God, this is even worse than we thought.
Proctor is so dirty, y'all.
He
He's
is.
so dirty.
I can't say enough how much that is misconduct. That is extreme. That is misconduct, Officer Proctor.
The lead investigator in this case, Trooper Michael Proctor, who has close family ties to the Alberts, whose home Officer O'Keefe's body was found on the lawn of, was immediately searching Karen Reed's phone for nudes.
How effing low life could you be?
That is misconduct. You violated the Fourth Amendment to look through her phone, and you didn't even do it to find evidence of the crime. You did it to be nasty.
I am outraged.
we are outraged.
Are you kidding? Are you kidding me? The defense did an excellent job of highlighting the fuckery.
They have receipts.
The data don't lie, people do.
And as you were taking that right onto Fairview, what, if anything, happened with your vehicle as you were taking that turn?
Nothing that I recall.
What happened to your vehicle?
And
I drove
that
it.
particular, coming from the Chapman side of Fairview.
Boring.
And in addition to yourself, who, if anyone else from your department was dispatched to this call as well?
Officer Saraf.
And
Lally, I
who, if anyone,
swear,
arrived
sir.
first?
Officer Saraf had arrived prior to my arrival.
And Officer Sarif, as far as which
The
direction
goat scream
was
is
his
because
cruiser facing? The same as yours,
he
directly at
just
yours?
is going to
I don't recall.
replow the same
recall seeing
field
Officer
with these
Sarif,
questions
during
over and
your
over again.
en route time sort of between
Just
the
stop
station
retreading the
and
same
arriving on
ground.
the scene?
Boring.
I don't know how any of this matters for this jury. They've already gone through the equipment at both firehouses with the last witness. It's not in controversy.
Boring.
So it was snowing.
And
So it started
just
snowing.
prior to that,
So
what
was it
about
snowing?
time did you sort of?
Oh, it was snowing?
And it gets kind
Oh,
of
you can stay, but I'm leaving.
Can be yellow if they're using late season apples. And of course, in Canada, the whole thing's flip flop.
What, if any, sort of additional ambient lighting did you observe in that area? Was there any street lights?
What if any? Stop it with the what if any. So what if any is sometimes appropriate, right? But like, what if any ambient lighting? Just what ambient lighting was there?
I would have never thought of that.
The guy can say it was dark. The guy can say there were street lights. The guy can say there were car lights. The guy can say somebody built a fire. The guy can say that it was World War III and there were flares raining down and, that they were illuminated with the plume of a nuclear explosion nearby. You don't need the what if any for that.
Don't you get it? You got to use reverse psychology. That sounds too complicated. Okay, don't use reverse psychology. All right, I will.
What if any? When you're asking what if any for every question, it kind of suggests that this is somebody who gets burned for asking a lot of leading questions. But just no. Stop it.
Are you sure that's how this sort of thing works? Shut up, brain, or I'll stab you with a Q-tip.
The data don't lie, people do.
Are we on Candy Camera? Are we on Candy Camera?
Your leaf blower needs more blow, sir. But it also needs to not be here.
Yeah, is it gas or electric? I need to know. Did they plug it in? Is it a handheld? Is there batteries in there?
At least we'll get to see the
Sorry, Ms. Coleman, if you could just pause it right there. What's up on
a leaf blower.
My own personal leaf blower that I got at Lowe's or Home Depot last year on sale for $89.99. It did a great job at the scene for evidence collection. And yeah.
So they got 3 officers here and none of them go, this is a stupid thing we're doing right now, right? You would think there'd be somebody there who would be going, guys, I have a thought. Maybe we should not do this. Like, maybe we should do anything but this.
It's my leaf blower. I just shot home and got it because, somebody thought it'd be a great idea. Because, it was windy and there was snow. We needed to collect some evidence, so I shot home, got it, shot right back. No big whoop. No big whoop, because I don't live so far. Everybody lives in the same neighborhood.
Matter of fact, it looks like a grocery bag.
Are you going to tell me that the red Solo cups were transported in the Stop and Shop bag? Is that what's going to happen next? That can't be so.
Because we're stopping and shopping for evidence.
It does not look like an evidence bag, does it?
No.
Matter of fact, it looks like a grocery bag.
Correct.
Stop and shop.
Yes. So, not a forensically stable item, correct? Was that a bag that you supplied to Sergeant Lang?
the F is going on?
I do not
Andy?
know.
Do not recall.
Lang got the stop and shop bag.
Is this the bag of blood?
There it is.
Oh my God. Just sitting there?
Yep.
Correct. Certainly not sterile.
Stop and Shop has entered the chat. Stop and Shop has entered the trial. The evidence was collected in red Solo cups obtained from the deputy chief Tom Kelleher, who lived kind of across the street from John O'Keefe, but not exactly. He gave them some red Solo cups, and then they put it into a Stop and Shop bag, and it is now sitting in the Sally port next to the vehicle.
Oh, the photograph.
Yes.
You
What is
got
that?
to be
Those are the
effing
plastic cups with the
kidding
coagulated
me.
blood.
This is not the. This cannot be happening right now. This is not what's happening.
And also, those are not in individualized bags. Those are not in individualized bags. Those are just out in the open. There's no cover to them. Like anything could have made its way into this thing. Like, just what is happening with this? This is just insane.
It's not even sealed up. It's just sitting in the Sally port. These are the cups of blood that should have been in the temporary evidence locker and then in the permanent evidence locker.
What?
Correct. Correct.
You know where that bag came from?
I do not.
Probably Stop and
Is that a
Shop.
bag that you supplied to?
I will say I am disappointed. I was really hoping that it would be Piggly Wiggly. Piggly Wiggly would have made this, or maybe a Bucky's, but like, I think Piggly Wiggly would have been funnier. But yeah, Stop and Shop. Ooh.
Next photograph, please.
I'm sorry if the Stop and Shop bag is sitting in the Sally port next to the defendant's vehicle. Are the red Solo cups still in it? Did it ever get marked into evidence? Did it get refrigerated? What? Oh God.
Points. So like, what? Like, I don't understand. What was the point? What was the point in using these red Solo cups when you're a mile away from the police department? Like, I don't understand why use unsterilized Solo cups. Like, what is happening with this investigation? I am losing my mind.
Human blood of a dead man is sitting in red Solo cups in a ShopRite bag or a supermarket bag instead of an evidence collection bag. No seal, no temperature control, just sitting there.
You have got to be kidding me.
Is it possible that before it contained evidence, this contained somebody's groceries?
What do you think's in that evidence bag? I'm sorry, Stop and Shop bag.
I'm not.
Sandwiches. That's what we think. It's a bunch of sandwiches on the floor of the Sally port right next to Karen Reed's car.
You know those cups were not sterilized. They're not labeled. There's no label on the bag. We don't know when anything was collected. You don't even really know that that's that person's just cups of blood.
Like, did somebody go on a condom run and that's what was in there? Like, I just don't know.
What's in the bag? What's in the bag? We're gonna surprise him. Surprise! It's not groceries.
This is, oh my God. Okay. Artie.
Oh my God. You've got to be joking me. Emily, keep watching. That.
Oop, there it is.
This is both the best and worst picture in the history of time, because here we've got this picture of them handling the evidence, and it's in Solo cups that they got from some dude, and then they stuff it into a used grocery bag. Then the officer is holding this open with gloves. The gloves are what makes it. The gloves are the best part, because it's like, we have every source of contamination possible, but we're wearing gloves. Why father? Why? This is so stupid.
Look at it and weep.
I don't. Why, Lally? Why?
This is sloppy. This is sloppy. Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, no.
Is there an objection?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, the objection sustained.
May we approach?
Okay.
That's ridiculous.
I had no clue what Maximum Stupid even looked like. None of us had any clue what Maximum Stupid looked like. None of us had any clue about Maximum Stupid. Nothing even really comes close to whatever this level of stupid is.
Your Honor, maybe let them keep the exhibits pre-marked. Maybe. Look at the shit show. Look at the shit show. Look at the shit show you have caused.
It is possibly the best definition of a farce I have seen in quite a while, to be honest. It is farcical on Shakespearean levels. I mean, you have to give it to the writers of this episode of whatever TV show apparently it is. I don't know what reality show this is supposed to be or what show this is. I didn't know whatever TV show that this is on, but you have to give it to the writers, ma'am, of whoever put this together, because wow, this farce is truly a comedy for the ages.
That people think this is, I don't know, that there's some sort of system going on, like, a little this, a little a little, Mr. Lally, don't you think that it's this? Don't you think that it's that? And those of you who have not watched this trial yet and are not familiar with this judge might be a little bit annoyed, horrified, and or both about what you feel is a bias being showed to the prosecution.
Oh, rage. I have rage. I have rage for all the people who have to do so much more work because of the renumbering of the exhibits. I don't think it's made anything more clear. Does anything feel more clear to you? I don't think it's made anything more clear.
Yeah, certain documents were not made part of the public record. They were kept under wraps.
This time wasting, Your Honor, this time wasting is on you, because they had pre-marked all the exhibits, and half of the bullshit that these attorneys are having to deal with is because both of them have on their desk 2 binders of evidence that are pre-marked with numbers, and you've told them to renumber everything as of Friday. So you caused that part of the problem.
It's both sad and hilarious and depressing and whimsical and dumb and ridiculous and absolutely, in the literal sense of incredible.
Oh boy. So I don't know why she decided that.
So I thought she let pretty much most of it in from yesterday. But the one big factor in story she's not going to let in is what happened at the mobile gas station, where Lank goes up to them or vice versa. They exchange words. Maybe one of them said something mean to the other. And what does Lank do but files witness intimidation charges that were later thrown out? And that's not coming in. And why that's a big deal is to me, to a lawyer, let's say. And me and my dad were golfing the other day and I told him about this and he was like, what? He's like, how corrupt does that seem?
Oh boy. Half this confusion was caused by her.
At the risk of stating the obvious, because I think it has to be said, even though it's obvious. At the risk of stating an obvious, it was the government who introduced all this evidence into trial. Right?
That not coming in, that is potentially the most scummy part of the story, is that you want to show as a cop, you can do whatever you want. You are the law. You can have serious charges filed against somebody just by your word with nobody else being there to corroborate it. So that not coming in, I do think it's a big deal, because I think the jury would look at this guy if they understood what that story was like and be like, whoa, brother, we cannot trust you. We cannot trust you.
It seems that the judge went, you know what I'd like better? I'd like better if y'all numbered them in the way that they're coming in court. It seems that the judge just decided, hey, can you just do them in chronological order now? That seems to be the choice.
I didn't know. I apparently the prosecutor has absolutely no sense of dignity or shame or face. I didn't. I mean, you would think the prosecutor might be a little bit embarrassed to present it.
It shows that this officer does shady stuff, which does pertain to this case. I agree. I mean, especially when you're talking about, potential cover up, dirty cops, whatever. I mean, that's pretty tough. That's pretty tough.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, we know. The prosecution has turned over 2 different police reports. One police report was turned over the day that Karen was first arraigned in February of 2022 to the defense. David Yannetti was handed a police report. That police report had the phone number for Brian Albert on it, and it had a photograph attached to it, which we just saw that witness identify. The next police report, which was supposed to be the same police report, was turned over during the course of discovery. It was not called amended police report, but 2 things were changed of note. Number 1, a different picture was attached to it, and it was a picture that was taken by, I believe, the Massachusetts State Police, who did not have jurisdiction at the time that Sergeant Good wrote this report, because remember, he's with Canton PD. The other thing that was changed is Brian Albert's phone number was completely changed. New phone number, new cell phone carrier. So while the prosecution thought they were turning over the same police report that they forgot that they already turned over, it was clearly different. Nefarious, negligent, an abomination? You tell me. And she's going to sustain that objection?
Did no one at the prosecutor's office, at any point have any sort of reality check, or did they lose a bet? Because that would explain a lot. The utter shamelessness of it all is truly absurd.
The data don't lie, people do.
What, if any, harassment was there in relation to that and in relation to Colin?
Well, no, go ahead. She can answer.
Colin wasn't at the house, so he's being harassed for...
Just say it!
He was not at the house when John was there, so I drove him home. So the people are harassing him, saying he was at the house when it's not true.
Just say it!
When you speak about harassment, what specifically type of harassment are we
Phone call, constant phone calls, emails, awful messages.
Just say it!
I'll allow it. Focus on this witness, not Colin Albert at this point.
As far as you and your family, what, if any, type of harassment have you received?
People showing up at our house.
Kids in your imagination. Just say it!
People emailing my school. Just like a lot of harassment.
No, you don't need that.
I also do think it's kind of interesting because that is the moment when a witness breaks down. Not over John O'Keefe's death, not over the fact that maybe they could have done something, not over anything. It's over, that they have been treated badly. And that's the moment a witness breaks down. They have mentioned, his children being orphaned. They haven't, they didn't shed a tear. They've mentioned, his death. They didn't shed a tear. They mentioned passing by him as he was dying in the snow. They didn't shed a tear. What did they shed a tear for? Themselves. Because this has been hard on them.
I've asked every witness, when was the first time that they spoke to the state police? That was the first time Lally McCabe spoke to the state police. None of that conversation had anything to do with harassment whatsoever. It was strictly related to the death of John O'Keefe and the investigation of John O'Keefe. I stayed completely clear of any discussion of harassment whatsoever. I only focused on the federal grand jury and the approach by the state police on August 25. I opened no door. I didn't even approach the door. And yet that evidence came in. It led to a moment where, that Mr. Lally, I believe, has been waiting for, which is for a witness to break down on the stand and feel sorry for themselves to gain sympathy before this jury. It was prejudicial to our client. It's prejudicial to our defense. It is error, and we're asking the court to correct it. Of any discussion of harassment whatsoever, I only focused on the federal grand jury and the approach by the state police on August 25.
He never mentioned anything about it.
I didn't even approach the door, and yet that evidence came in.
I 100% agree with him on this argument right now, because, when it comes to these sort of things that are more prejudicial than probative, the question really becomes, did they do something to open the door to this testimony? Because, the judge can have ruled before, no, this stays out because, it's really not probative. It's more than anything, it's going to be prejudicial. The jury's going to be led astray by hearing this kind of information, and it's not going to actually help them determine the case on the merits. They might get distracted by it and go down this whole side quest of an improper reason to make a determination in the case. And so the question is, what did the defense do to open the door? So she had determined yesterday that the defense opened the door, and this is what he's saying here, I believe, is accurate from what I remember in reviewing the testimony yesterday, that, him asking about these text messages that are being brought in, he has every ability to ask about these text messages of the fact that she didn't provide them to anyone before any point. And he didn't talk about anything that was harassment. He didn't refer to any sort of social media presence or media presence, or any sort of attention that the family broadly has received as a result of this trial. They didn't talk about any of that.
Completely agree with Yannetti. They didn't come anywhere near the door. He asked the same question. He asked so many other witnesses. That's exactly what we said on the live stream last night. Literally, he's asked witness after witness that same exact question. Never was that opening the door. Never was that discussing harassment or things like that. Yet the judge just allowed them to dig into it.
And Yannetti did not open the door on anything having to do with harassment. He asked every witness about the other proceedings they testified in. That has to do with the federal grand jury and what they're allowed to bring in and how they're allowed to bring that in.
I mean, that's basically correct, and in basically every single way. He's correct that he wasn't really asking those questions. And so the answers were improper, and that it led to this extremely prejudicial result that occurred in court. And incidentally, of course, the lawyer is doing exactly what he's supposed to do here. He's supposed to try to give the opportunity for the trial court to try to correct the record. You don't make your objections, you lose it. You use it or you lose it when it comes to objections. And so he's doing the exact right thing. He's like, look, I did not open this door. As it relates to this, I simply asked these other questions. I didn't ask the questions relating to harassment. This was completely improper. The prosecution's asking questions, getting this breakdown on the stand for pure sympathy play. It's prejudicial. It's improper.
And so it does seem incredibly improper for that to have somehow opened the door, because that means that any number of these witnesses can open the door just by the defense properly asking, well, where the hell does this screenshot come from, and why didn't you introduce it earlier? Like that seems an entirely proper line of questioning, and I don't think that opens the door.
Your Honor, counsel absolutely opened the door as far as the questioning was concerned. It was not just...
Did they now?
The characterization of the questioning is just simply inaccurate. As far as...
Okay, Lally, you're saying he opened the door. What did he say that opened the door? What was it that opened the door?
As far as...
How did he open the door, Lally? Make
questions that were posed to the witness, it was as far as the... questions that were posed to the witness, it was more geared towards why, implying that the witness only provided this after testifying at the other proceeding or being questioned about it in that environment, and that's the only reason that she had these messages, and why hadn't she turned these messages over earlier? And that is in direct response to the harassment that that witness and her entire family, as well as Mr. Albert, had sustained as a result of actions.
I don't understand logically how he could have thought that that Q&A between Yannetti and Ally McCabe somehow would have led him to just try to drive a truck through this opening about this campaign of alleged abuse.
And the thing is if you look at Lally's question that elicits this wasn't why did you release these texts later? It was very specific about what have you suffered since then? Come on. Your question wasn't addressed to the texts. It was addressed to getting that response.
And why hadn't she turned these messages over earlier? And that is...
Even why wouldn't do the trick, right? So when did you turn them over? Why didn't you turn them over earlier? It's still not going to harassment. It's basically the fundamental question. Even his own description doesn't do the trick, which is hilarious, right? If he's asking questions like, hey, when did you turn this over to the police or the grand jury or whatever? And why didn't you turn it over earlier? Those are perfectly proper questions. And there might be perfectly good answers. Such answers as, I didn't have it earlier, or I was scared, or whatever, right? But it's a perfectly reasonable question. Why are you just coming up with this? Why are you just presenting this now? That isn't not asking about harassment. It's just asking about the timing of things. So even his own description belies his argument.
By several different parties, including counsel. So for those reasons, it was proper. There was nothing, I don't think it was more than 5 minutes of testimony concerning it, and it was because counsel opened the door to it.
Nope, wrong. He's wrong on the law and the facts.
I completely disagree with Lally. I don't remember it that way. I disagree with the judge letting it in the first place. Let's see if she changes her mind.
So, Ms. Yannetti, I remember clearly the lines of inquiry that you initiated. So I disagree with you in the strongest way possible. You've made your record. Your motion's denied.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's bring in the jurors, please.
I 100% disagree on every level with that ruling.
That's pretty shocking. It's just absolutely bonkers. It's not even close. This is not a close call, in my view.
What a big surprise. Oh, I thought that she was finally going to rule. Was his questioning anywhere near what she claims?
I don't recall it verbatim, but...
What, if anything, do you recall?
I disagree with you in the strongest way possible. You've made your record. Your motion's denied.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's...
What kind of conclusory crap is that? What kind of conclusory crap is that? If you really believe that he opened the door yesterday, then why can't you provide some sort of explanation about how exactly he did that? Because maybe my perception is wrong, Your Honor, and you can teach me, just like you can teach perhaps the audience watching, including the public watching. You can provide your argument about why you perceive certain things a particular way. The state has made their argument, or the Commonwealth has made their argument, defense has made their argument, be like, no, this is how I perceive things. I was there, and this is what you said, and this is what you asked, and so forth and so on, but none of those things. It's completely conclusory.
If she gets convicted, if Karen Reed gets convicted, expect an appeal on that issue. That's what I would totally expect an appeal on that issue. I disagree with this decision by the judge entirely.
It's disgraceful because it's not relevant to the issues at the trial. All it can do is prejudice Karen Reed, and the idea is these people are witnesses or whatever they are. This case is not about whether, poor Colin Albert feels like he's been intimidated by witnesses, by people in the case or whatever, or bloggers, whoever. It's just not appropriate. And the judge is supposed to be the gatekeeper of a fair trial. And I think she completely yesterday lost control of it. And now it's a complete shit show on this regard.
It's completely just reductive. It doesn't provide any example. It doesn't provide any explanation. It's just like, nope, I just clearly disagree with your characterization because reasons, which I'm not going to provide, even though I have so many reasons I could pick from. It's hard to pick even one. Could you give me an example? No, there's just so many. I can't pick one. How about an example? No. Judgment is not the same thing as bias. Just because they're always ruling one way or just because they're always ruling the other way does not necessarily bias make. Nevertheless, after all this, at this point in the trial, what are we, 14 days into this trial, and with the judge making ruling after ruling after ruling after ruling that defies my understanding of legal principles, it's becoming much, much harder for me not to say, hey, this is biased. And so I'm just going to say it. It's bias.
The data don't lie, people do.
Now they can put him on in a polo shirt and comb his hair and have him sound all nice. And that's fine. I mean, as far as court went, he presented very well and he actually held up very well. But
I don't remember. I don't remember everything he said. I don't remember. Not that I remember. I do not remember. I do not remember. I don't remember. I do not remember. I do not remember. I don't remember. No, I don't remember.
You see that photograph?
Yeah.
That's being displayed?
Yes.
So are they going to ask what happened or?
How'd you get those injuries?
There we go.
We can lights up.
I was at a party, my house party my senior year.
Wow, that's a really coherent memory.
And I remember it being icy out, and it was kind of like a steep hill of a driveway. And I was walking up the driveway and I slipped down the driveway and I tried to catch myself, but I had something in my left hand. So I had tried to brace myself with my right hand and I ended up sliding a little bit down the driveway.
As we just saw in that photograph, right across the top of your knuckles.
Wow, suddenly you're crystal clear again.
So he slipped and fell and just injured the knuckles on his fist.
So if this is the ground, fist hits the ground trying to break his fall, and that's how he scraped it up.
Okay, you're going to go down, and I'm going to scrape one set of knuckles. But
I got a question. Is he Donkey Kong? I'm kind of legitimately asking. Like, is he Donkey Kong?
So you fell onto what, pavement, asphalt?
Yes.
And you braced yourself when you fell, your entire body weight, by putting your right hand down in a fist, and you injured your right fist, just the top of the knuckles on your right fist when you fell down.
Correct.
Unless you're walking forward like, gorilla style, I don't see this happening. Like,
you fell on ice.
You scraped your knuckles?
and
No,
injured
you
your
scraped your
knuckles,
palm. You hurt your
as we just
wrist.
saw in
You
that
cut
photograph,
yourself on the
right
hand.
across the top of your knuckles.
No.
when you fall on the pavement, what do you do?
Your hands always get cut up. That's what you do.
If your
or your
hand-
arms, but you don't go on your. No.
I typically like you press that, not that, right? I don't see it.
Anybody believe that? Anybody ever fracture a wrist because when you fall, you brace your hands like this and you break a wrist, or fracture a wrist, or sprain a wrist?
So, according to you, you fell on ice and injured your knuckles.
And put your hand down this way?
As we just saw
Not
in
this
the
way?
photograph, right across the top of your knuckles.
Correct.
Okay, if your hands work, then you know what's going to happen. You're gonna use this is the front
palm.
of your palm. You're gonna
Absolutely.
attempt, you're not gonna land on your knuckles. And by
It's
the
your
way,
palms or your face. You know what I mean? It's like
right.
one
But
or the
also-
other. That's
You put your palms down, you fell.
No.
You fell your entire body weight on your right fist and just injured the top portion of your knuckles. Right?
Correct.
No.
Those injuries to your knuckles looking.
Like, no. No.
What'd you have in your left hand?
Probably a beer.
If I remember, it was either my phone or a beverage.
Yeah, did you spill the beer? I want to know that too, Martin.
I really have a tough time believing like he said that with a straight face, had that answer ready. He remembered that and he knew that, right? It wasn't like, I don't remember how I got those injuries. That would have been a more consistent answer with the rest of his cross.
He doesn't remember anything about what happened the night Officer O'Keefe was murdered, except he left the house at 12:10. He doesn't remember who he prepped with last week. He doesn't remember anything he testified to a year, but he remembers that in February of 2022, he slipped down a driveway on ice and scraped up all the knuckles on his right hand.
That is such an unreliable or not credible answer that it would make me struggle in how I'm going to listen to the rest of his testimony. And it gets worse.
Yeah, of course. But, I don't know. This just sounds like a terrible explanation. And it's really just...
Don't be suspicious. 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 Don't be suspicious.
What?
Seriously?
Objection, Your Honor.
I'm not even mad about that. I'm not even mad about that. There are times when Jackson's snark is too much for me, but I can't be mad at that because it's the exact same thing that was in my brain. Like, seriously?
Seriously?
Objection, Your Honor.
Thank you, Jackson.
His question is just seriously.
Seriously?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
The data don't lie, people do.
Just ask some questions about meeting. What
was his name? What was his name? Say his name.
Me, my husband, Trooper Proctor, and Trooper Bukaki.
Buchanan?
Trooper what now?
Bukaki.
He called him Bukaki.
Michael Proctor.
I don't think that's his name. I think that means something else that she doesn't
Michael
intend.
Proctor
Bukaki.
Trooper what now?
Michael Proctor agreed to interview you and your husband together.
She did.
correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Michael Proctor agreed to interview you and your husband together, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Objection.
You and your husband.
What do you define lengthily? And I don't recall. I don't remember how long it was exactly.
It didn't go into the evening, correct?
No.
Holy shit, that didn't just fucking happen.
You and your husband were interviewed together, correct?
Correct.
Did either of these troopers, including Michael Proctor, suggest that maybe the two of you should be separately interviewed? maybe the two of
Yeah, guys, that was a really big slip in this trial.
Oh my God, Turtleboy must be fucking shitting a brick right now and laughing is trying not to laugh his ass off in the fucking car. I can't. I can't right now.
I don't recall. I don't remember.
take place within your home?
In my family room?
Were you sitting on couches?
Yes.
You were comfortable?
Yes.
You were not in a police.
She definitely got his name wrong in the worst way. I can only imagine Emily Baker's chat must be going absolutely insane.
It didn't go into the evenings, correct?
No.
We're already dead. Michael Proctor and the other trooper left, correct?
Correct.
Were you sitting on couches?
Yes.
You're comfortable?
Yes.
You were not in a police interrogation room, correct?
No, I was not.
And it wasn't particularly lengthy, correct?
Oh, that was a bad one. That was a really bad one. Okay. Yeah, I hope the video doesn't get flagged.
And then Michael Proctor and the other trooper left, correct?
Correct.
Then at 6:17 p.m. that same night.
What do you define lengthily? I don't
That's what she
recall.
said.
I don't remember how long it was exactly.
I mean, I'm not gonna keep saying it, but like, yeah, Matthew Baxter. Yeah. Okay. All right, you guys. Let's.
Shortly after you had been interviewed, you called Michael Proctor's personal cell phone number, correct?
I don't remember.
At 6:17 p.m. that same night.
She called him Sergeant Bukaki, Detective Trooper Bukaki.
I couldn't
That's
believe
my
it.
name.
I thought that was a joke.
Shit's gonna get clipped and blasted all over fucking Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. Jesus, lady.
The data don't lie, people do.
Well, it's kind of like a butt dial.
Oh
boy.
All right. How long have you used
Butt dials.
an iPhone?
I inadvertently called Brian Higgins.
What time?
Inadvertently?
2:22.
Well, I don't know because it was inadvertent.
So I have to explain that.
Well, it's kind of like a butt dial.
I don't like the butt dial. All right. How long have you used an iPhone?
A long time.
I inadvertently called Brian Higgins. Wow, what a convenient inadvertent phone call.
How did you inadvertently call him?
Well, I don't know because it was inadvertent.
So I have to explain that.
Well, it's kind of like a butt dial.
I don't like the
Butt dial?
Well, I don't know because it was inadvertent.
So I have to explain that.
Well, it's kind of like a butt dial.
I don't like the butt dial. All right. How long have you used?
The butt dials have entered the trial. Here it comes.
The phone that wasn't acting right? The phone that you needed to upgrade?
Am I the only person in the world who owns a nightstand? My nightstand, it's such an amazing invention. You put it next to your bed and you put your phone on it.
As a matter of fact, you've been asked this question before, haven't you?
Yes.
Hence my question. You knew what I was going to ask you. 2022, correct?
Butt dialed in bed?
I don't like the butt dial. All right. How long have you used an iPhone? Why would you have a phone in bed?
We have 5 kids.
Candy Crush.
And you don't have your reading glasses in your bed. That's just a stupid thing to say.
Can you answer that?
No one fucking does that.
All I can answer is that I sleep with my phone in my bed. That's just what I do.
Dude.
Okay, this is weird. This is where things start to get really weird.
And you know what I'm about to ask you.
I don't.
Which is why you're saying you sleep with the phone in the bed, correct? So now you've got 2 phones in the bed.
Yes.
Okay. And your glasses.
Yes.
Right between the 2 of you.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
2 phones in the bed.
Yes.
Right
Hey, stop.
Yes.
Got it.
It's comedy gold, comedy gold. Hold on. Now you got 2 phones in the bed.
Like hand mixer, an Xbox, like, yeah.
I can't believe that this is the testimony about this.
Butt dialing, but not crushing glasses. That's what I'm doing.
You then changed your testimony and said, and I don't mean to be indelicate, but your testimony was then that you were in an intimate situation, I'll put it that way, with Nicole at the time. And that's how you butt dialed Brian Higgins, correct?
What?
I don't believe I said that's how I butt dialed Brian Higgins.
Cringe factor has gone through the roof.
Oh, man.
Did you accidentally hit voice recognition and you just happened to be calling his name, or was your wife calling his name? Is that how he got dialed?
Do you believe in sex, Mr. Albert?
What you said was...
You want us to believe that you put your phone, your wife's phone, and your reading glasses in your bed before you started having adulty time. And then during that adulty time, you accidentally butt dialed Brian Higgins? Sir? Are you... Sir? No one believes you. No one believes you. No one believes you.
Lies.
You say you inadvertently...
All of this is bullshit, in my opinion, because, like, I don't believe this for a second.
Objection, Your Honor.
I'll withdraw. You indicated previously at a different hearing in June of 2023 that you were, quote, hanging out with your wife.
Okay, I'm just gonna let's run through this hypothetical. Let's run through the possibility that he and his wife were
the physical act of love, coitus,
and that somehow he dials Brian Higgins. Well, first of all, how does that happen? Because, like, where is the phone positioned for this? Was it the trooper? Was it that situation on the phone, or
No one believes. I'm sorry, sir. We are in the same general category, I'm sure, of age. You're gonna put the things away that you need to put away. You're gonna shut the door. You have 5 children. You're not. Stop it. Stop, you're not just spontaneously exploding into having sex with your reading glasses in your bed. I don't believe it for a second.
Yes.
You were then called back to that same hearing.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I didn't think we were going to get to butt dials during sex, but here we are. Here we are. Here we are.
Yes.
so the guy who at the bar is playing a little, whatever, a little boxing, a little, grabbing the button, swaying, like whatever else. You're telling me that you accidentally butt dialed this guy from the middle of
coitus.
Today is not what I expected.
Yes.
This is a lot for a Monday.
Yes.
Dude, what does this guy think he's gonna do at this point? Like, that's what's fucking mind-blowing. Like, what does this guy think he's gonna, like, pull off here?
Obviously, you know how long 22 seconds is.
What's that?
You know how long 22 seconds lasts.
Yes.
I'm a child. I'm
So
sorry.
according to your phone records, you placed a call to him.
Let me see what I said. I have to review my lies so that I know what lie to tell next. Hold on.
Let me get this straight. You inadvertently call Brian Higgins at 2:22 in the morning and say you don't speak. I'm waiting to see if this is an answered call and how long. Your wife's sister calls her twice at 6 o'clock in the morning and the phone answers, but they also don't speak. Mysteriously, someone answers that phone, but they don't speak. Jen McCabe calls Julie, thank you, Julie Albert, gets a missed call from Jen McCabe at 5:55 a.m. and just doesn't answer the phone in a blizzard, goes out to get donuts, doesn't call her back, because everybody's super active on their phones after 2 o'clock in the morning, after a night of drinking, in a blizzard. And no one answered the phone. The phones are mysteriously answering on their own. Sir, is your house haunted? Are the spiritual witnesses answering the phone?
The data don't lie, people do.
We're back at it once again with the Karen Reed stupid as one of the police officers confesses on the stand.
Hello, if you're just joining. Na 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 na. Hey hey hey. Goodbye.
You then texted your wife, Brian Albert, and Nicole Albert, quote, tell them the guy never went in the house.
What?
Correct?
Yeah, that's part of the same text.
What?
Yes.
Mr. McCabe, who was the guy that you were referring to? Does he have a name?
Ruh-roh.
Tell them the guy never went in the house.
Oh, that's part of the same text.
Wow.
That's part of the same text.
Holy shit. What?
Who was the guy that you were referring to?
What? These are people that are talking about what needs to be told to the police. That's not good for the prosecution.
Correct?
Yeah, that's part of the same text. Yes.
What? Your group text is tell them the guy never went in the house? Sir, this is your group this is your group text.
Yikes. Holy cannolis. Holy
He
cannoli.
responded, did he not? Does he have a name?
That would be John O'Keefe.
Fuck, dude, you dirty, dirty motherfucker.
Yes.
Mr. McCabe, who was the guy that you were referring to? Does he have a name?
That would be John O'Keefe.
Tell them the guy never went in the house. John O'Keefe.
You're texting this 2 days after he died on your brother-in-law's lawn. The fuck? Do any of you all give a shit about any? No, you don't. No, you don't.
The guy. You mean John O'Keefe, the neighbor that you said that you knew well because your daughter was friends with his niece and yada, 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 all the good stuff. The guy. Have him tell them the guy never went into the house.
I mean, it doesn't really sound great in context. We've got this person sending information to other people about what they should or should not understand. And it sounds like there's an agreement being formed about what certain things are or are not, as opposed to independent recollections. It's not exactly ideal.
He was still part of the group text?
Yes, Brian is on the exchange.
They would
And
already
Brian
know to
Albert,
say that.
Was the one to respond, wasn't he?
If that's the
Let me
truth.
switch pages here.
If it's the truth that he never went in the house and everyone agrees that that's the truth, why the need to tell these people that are your brother-in-law, your sister-in-law, and your wife, tell them that the guy never went into the house? I'm sorry. I just what? This is suspicious as hell.
That was you talking about how you should all get your stories straight, correct?
No.
No. Oh, let me
You would
smile.
agree with me
Yeah, because
that
it's
your
funny.
stories are all straight.
Oh, now that smile is starting to
He
look a little like
responded,
some
did he not?
Duper's delight, isn't it?
Yes, he did.
And then
No.
you would agree with me that your stories are all straight in terms of.
You didn't think this was going to come up? The prosecutor didn't think this was going to come up? How are we here when this is what's in the text that everybody presumably has? What the fuck have we been doing for...
And Nicole Albert, quote,
3 weeks.
Sorry, but this is just...
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Brian Albert's response was exactly correct.
Exactly.
Yes, that's his response.
We're done here.
We're done here.
All right.
Brian Albert's response was exactly correct.
Boom.
Yes, that's his response.
Dirty.
All right. Commonwealth, any redirect?
Bunch of dirty shit bags, you motherfuckers. You fucking murdering pieces of shit.
Brian Albert's response was exactly.
Oh my
Yes, that's his
God.
response.
We're done here.
All right.
Brian Albert's response was exactly correct.
Yes, that's his response.
We're done here.
All right.
We're done here. Well, that's a strong close. Oof.
I can't pick my jaw up. My jaw will not.
No, you know what? You know what, chat? Motion granted. Motion granted. First of all, that. Some code red fuckery is what we've got. We've got some code red fuckery. You know what the fuckeriest fuckery of this is? I don't know this for a fact. This is Emily's speculation. I've not speculated much during this trial at all, but here we fucking go. I have to wonder if this extraction was done by state troopers or by the feds. Who extracted these phones? At what point did this finally become clear that in the midst of everyone being interviewed, someone finally extracted the phones? Because I am now hastened, reticent to believe that it was actually the state troopers and Trooper Proctor that extracted these phones and looked at these text messages. I just have to wonder if this was part of the discovery that came from the feds. I don't know if it is or if it isn't. It's not relevant to the jury if it is or if it isn't. But how do you do anything in this case but question what the fuck?
The data don't lie, people do.
Jen.
Alan! Al! Alan!
Jen.
Alan! 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 Al!
Carrie.
Steve!
Oh, no, that's not Steve. That is Alan.
You're aware that he puts the G in the exact same spot you just put.
Check.
Are you aware of that?
I am. Oh, wait. No.
What?
Excuse me. Repeat the question.
I'm sorry. Did you just get caught in a? Did you actually get caught in a truth? That's a unique situation. Normally, talk about getting caught in a lie, but did you just get caught in a truth? And now you have to backpedal. It's like, did you know? Yes, I did. Well, wait a second. No, I'm not supposed to know that, am I? So we want to go back on our previous statement that I knew. All right, try to dig yourself out of this one, I guess.
Oh, wait. No. What? Excuse me. Repeat the question.
One at a time, please, ma'am.
Oh, okay. She really just kind of caught herself there because it sounded like she said, yeah, I know what he testified to.
boy. That was a little bit of a slip, perhaps.
Sorry, I didn't mean to step on your words. I thought you.
That's okay. You can continue.
I don't think we. She's going to give him permission to continue. Oh, just when you thought it couldn't get any better.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
I don't think we got your answer, though.
What the hell was that?
Okay.
Yeah, I think
That was
Madam
so
Court
nice of
Reporter
her.
was asking for your answer.
Oh, shit.
I don't think we got your answer, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Madam Court Reporter was asking for your answer.
Can you repeat your answer?
To the question.
You can
Of,
continue.
did he know where the Jeep was?
Whether or not you told him. Thank you.
Oh, she's rude.
I don't think we got your answer, though.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Madam Court Reporter was asking for your answer.
How would you know that he knew where the Jeep was? The only way that you would know that he knew where the Jeep was is that he told you. Because even if he was in the car with you at the time and had the ability to observe it, that doesn't necessarily mean that he knew that, because maybe he didn't observe it. You know, if you're driving in a car with someone, it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone in the car sees exactly the same thing, because there are many things going on and different people might see different things. So the only way that you could know that he knew is that he told you. And at which point you've communicated, which is what you said earlier before you tried to backtrack on it. But you've backtracked in a way that actually confirms that, yes, you did talk about it, even though you're trying to say you didn't talk about it. That's the genius at work right here. In trying to explain the thing away, I walk myself into the very pit I'm trying to avoid. Fun and exciting times over here.
She said, I hit him 3 times. She declared it, correct?
Correct.
Not once, not twice, 3 times. I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, correct?
Correct.
Uh-huh.
You have a very specific memory of that event, do you not?
I do.
Obviously, that's an incredibly impactful thing for you to remember. Is that right?
It was an impactful statement, yes.
And you remember it today as well as you remembered it the day she did it.
Yes.
Oh, girl. What did you
Mr.
say?
McCabe, I'd like you to turn to the page, since you've reviewed this, turn to the page of that document where you ever said in your testimony that my client said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Show me where you said it.
You didn't say it in your grand jury testimony, did you?
I mean, at this point, it's like,
Never said it in the grand jury.
Yeah, you didn't say it, did you? Left out that detail, didn't you?
Was I asked what she said?
Oh! Get out of here. Did they ask you that question?
I just asked questions. I just asked questions.
Well, I'd like you to direct me where to look.
He asked you.
You look at the entire.
No, ma'am. Oh, fuck. What he said was, show me where you said it. Show me where you said this impactful statement. I hit him X3. Crystal clear. Show me where you said it at the grand jury. Did she never say this at the grand jury? What the fuck happened at this grand jury?
he's had to say, I get to ask the questions several times. He's had to say that. And she just keeps fighting.
I'd like you to direct me at to where to look. It's like, that's not how it works either. I'm not your lawyer. I'm telling you it's not in there. If you think it's in there, you tell me where it is. You said it. You should remember if you said it or not. That's another thing where witnesses try to make lawyers look bad as if they're not being helpful, but it's like, that's not my job. My job is not to prepare you for your cross-examination. Your job is to tell the truth, and I'm going to ask questions.
Oh my God.
Look at the entire.
Yeah. No, you didn't do it, did you? You gave grand jury testimony, and during your entire grand jury testimony, you never mentioned the somewhat impactful line from the defendant. Never mentioned in your grand jury testimony The defendant said, I did it, I did it, I did it.
And turn to the page.
Show me.
Ever said that my client said,
Show
I
me.
hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
I'm not sure if it's in this document, but I can tell you today with 100% clarity, she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
But it's not there.
On that morning.
Then why wouldn't you have said it at the grand jury?
Stop turning to the jury. This isn't. I can say with 100% certainty that she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. You never testified to that to the grand jury.
I can tell you with 100% certainty and clarity or whatever she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
I will never forget it, which is exactly why I never mentioned it to the grand jury. During the 222 pages worth of testimony I gave to the grand jury, it was so impactful, I never will forget it. But I'm sure it never came up. That's why you didn't mention it. Uh-huh. I believe that. Uh-huh. Sure.
So you didn't
So it's
say
not
it.
in that document, is it?
I'm not sure if I could take the time and do you want me to read over 200 pages?
May I
Yep.
approach?
Yes.
I don't know if it's there, but I know she said it. Yeah. That's probably not the best thing she could have said there.
No, I don't want to take the time. Because you just indicated that you reviewed this document.
Because you didn't say it.
Testimony, right?
Correct.
Beautiful.
You know that you never testified to that in the grand jury in April of
Put it
2020.
in evidence.
Don't you?
I don't know that as a fact. I would have to reread 222 pages or however long it is.
You prepped for your testimony. This is the most impactful thing Karen said to you that morning, and you don't know if it's there or not? Sure, Jan. Sure.
You think you might have missed it when you reviewed your testimony in anticipation for, I'm sorry, when you reviewed your transcript in anticipation for your testimony?
What have you been doing all weekend?
Yeah.
Objection.
Hello.
Lally.
I read it a few weeks ago.
It's probably the most powerful part of your testimony, ma'am.
And I will never forget it.
Okay, so that's stricken.
Would you agree? Do you think that's a powerful part of your testimony?
Objection.
I'll allow that. It is, yes.
Why?
Did you see it in the transcript?
Ask her why.
I cannot recall. It's over 200 pages.
He scoffed. Did you hear it? I heard it.
Yes.
I heard him scoff.
This is not good for her.
Yeah, approach her.
Yes.
Like that's a very important part of her testimony. How does she just like forget?
Uh-huh. I'm sure it's I can't recall problem. That must be it.
I mean, she thinks she got one there too. Like, it's like you can see in her, she's got to control her face better. If I was coaching her on, testifying, which she probably wouldn't care what I had to say, but I'm just saying, like, those smirks and stuff, you're supposed to be an unbiased, neutral witness who was friends with the victim. You're not supposed to hate the defendant. You're not supposed to hate the defense attorney. You're not supposed to love the prosecutor. You're not supposed to press. You're just supposed to testify.
Like, how do you forget as to like whether or not you said that when you just read the testimony, even if that was 2 or 3 weeks ago? You're coming into this big trial that has a lot of impact on your personal life because you've talked about this harassment stuff. It's like,
Just tell him that Lally will point it out to you if it's there. And leave it at that. Lally can bring it up on redirect, can he?
I'm waiting for him to just be like, you know what? The prosecution has asked every witness who plays on the varsity basketball team and if they lost that game or not. We know what everyone was drinking, including the Crystal Light. We know everyone at the high top. If I'm Alan Jackson at this point, I'd be real fucking tempted. I don't know if it would piss the jury off or not because I'm not sitting there looking at their faces and it's on week 4. I'd be real fucking tempted to stand up there page by page. Is it on this page? Is it on this page? Is it on? Because sometimes you get petty like that.
it feels like she's just trying to weasel out of this. She's trying to weasel out of this by being like, well, I don't know, it's 200 pages. I would need to sit here and read all of it. And I feel like she is the kind of person that if Jackson was like, all right, okay, like I'll call your bluff, read it on the stand right now, read all of it, go page for page, word for word, that she would actually sit there and do it. Just to be difficult. Like that's the impression that I have right now with how far this is going.
It's just the circle just keeps closing and closing and closing. Oh, I love it. He's just, he's just letting her dig her own grave. It's so good.
You were asked 12 times what she said. Was I ever asked, ma'am? You read your transcript. You know damn well you were asked and you still answered that. Wow. How'd you not see the way this was going to go?
What did the defendant say was going to be kind of an important question. So yeah, she was asked 12 times and she never mentioned it once. What an amazing coincidence. You can keep looking through the 12 pages. It ain't there, ma'am.
She always wants to look over the documents before she answers because she doesn't want to get caught.
Jenny, girl, you got nowhere to run, girl. Just admit it. Just admit it.
So he has a highlighted version of 12 different things that she testified that Karen Read said. And guess what's not in there? I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. And he's going to run through these 12 things here.
And she never said, I hit him, I hit him. Good Lord, that's a big change. That's a big change.
At the scene, I was asked twice, according to this.
I question you. Isn't it true that in April of 2022, you testified no fewer than 12 times, 12 separate statements you gave about what my client's statements were, either at the scene or in the car ride on the leading up to go into the scene?
Yeah. You tell him.
You remember that?
I do.
Okay. So on page 190 of what you're looking at,
Mhm.
these should all be highlighted.
It is.
You testified that my client said to you over the phone at 4:53 a.m., she asked the question, did I hit him? You see that?
I do.
Number two, on page 192, talking about when y'all were in the car on the way to the scene, Karen asked the question, could I have hit him? You see that?
Yes.
Page 193, lines 1 through 2. In John's driveway, she asked the question, quote, and she's asking if she could have hit him.
Yes.
Page 201, driving to Fairview. She asked the question, what if I hit him? And could I have hit him? Correct?
Correct.
Page 202, lines 1 through 2.
This is more
While driving to
powerful than if she had
Fairview,
just said no.
She asked the question, could I have hit him?
Correct.
Page 208, lines 24 through 25, outside at Fairview, she asked the question, did I hit him? And went on to ask, could I have hit him? Correct?
Correct.
And your testimony was also on page 208 that Karen was yelling nonstop in front of the female EMT, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Is he dead? Correct?
Correct.
Oh.
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
May I approach?
Yes.
Where in there does it say, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him? Because all of the testimony that's in so far from my perspective is that Karen Read was fucking panicked and was trying to figure out what happened.
She's basing her testimony on what Katie McLaughlin said on the stand. She's trying to make the story straight, trying to keep the story consistent. But when you're shown your grand jury testimony that was used to indict Karen Read on murder charges, what did you hear her say? At the grand jury, she said 12 times, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Did I hit him? Could I have hit him? And now she wants to convince the jury so badly that she heard him say, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. And this, they didn't ask me thing is not going to work. It's not going to fly.
That's and the thing is, she made this the most painful way possible by saying, I don't know about all the times that I, all the things that I said in that grand jury testimony, blah, blah, blah.
So again, what he's pointing out here is your testimony keeps getting better, as in better for the prosecution.
Not one time in that testimony did you say she declared, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. Did you?
The questions that were asked, when she said,
No, stop it. That was a yes or no question. The answer is no. Give the answer. And then on redirect, the prosecution can give you the chance to give your explanation. I really wish the judge would shut her down.
It must be none of the times that I was asked exactly the right way. That's the thing. None of the times I was asked was I asked exactly the right thing. That's why I never said it ever before. Sure. Who's buying this story? This is a laugh. This is a farce. Unbelievable. It's literally, in the literal sense of incredible, it's hard to believe it's coming out of her mouth. What a show this has been. What a show.
what I just read was us when she first called me, or when we were driving in the car, or when we were at John's house. So I was answering the question that I was asked.
Look at the jury and try and convince them, because guess what? Ain't happening, sister. Ain't happening, sister. Ain't happening.
So what's interesting about that is in real time, Jackson didn't have the response that he had after the break, I believe, when he said, actually, I just went back and looked at your grand jury testimony, and guess what? This was in response to, I think it was a female EMT or first responder at the scene is actually where you responded to this. So it's like impeaching her impeachment. It doesn't look good for her to tell. I mean, obviously, give me a break. If I asked you what somebody said and you told me 12 different things, but now you remember very specifically with 100% certainty and clarity that she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, but you never said that before. That's tough. That's not, that makes me, if I'm a juror, a tick down on credibility to me, that she really wants to get in that I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Nope. It doesn't matter what she says now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what she says now, because you know why?
Don't be suspicious.
No.
So you believe that you weren't asked the question, did she say to an officer, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him? And if you're not asked the question, did she say to an officer, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him? You're not going to volunteer that she said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. That's your testimony.
I find that hard to believe, because you can't answer the question that you're being asked today, can you? In fact, you haven't answered one question that I've asked you today, have you? Without embellishing, without volunteering information, without trying to worm your way into a different answer to a different question that I didn't ask. So I find it really hard to believe, ma'am, that in a proceeding with 0 rules and one attorney named Lally, that you were just trying to answer the question.
Yeah. I'm sorry. No, her testimony completely changed on that. And that is a very important point. It's just, nope.
No, that's not. My testimony is an officer was asking her what his name was
An officer
and different things about him.
ambulance
And at
driver?
that point, she was saying, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Which officer?
I do not recall.
Well, you recall
I don't recall which officer.
Well, you recall the I hit him. You just told me that was the most impactful thing in the morning.
It was shocking.
Sucks you don't recall the other details. So she admitted, and I thought it was actually great that the judge let him ask, that was a really impactful part of your testimony. And she said, yes, and I'll never forget it, because it's like, you'll never forget it. You agree it's impactful, potentially the most important thing you testify to. Why would you not bring it up at all these other opportunities to bring it up?
So what officer did she say this to, supposedly?
I was more focused on her and her hysteria than which officer was asking the question.
So you have no idea who the officer was even, correct?
I'm not sure which officer was asking her. It could have been an EMT.
It could have been Officer Sasquatch. I don't know. He just walked on in, and then afterwards he just disappeared. He had a very, 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 healthy beard. I mean, I don't know.
Could have been an EMT. Someone said, what is his name? Does he have medical conditions? How old is he?
But you were asked that question, ma'am. On page 208, you were asked what she said in front of the female EMT who was asking her questions. I'm sorry, your answer was, she said, did I hit him? Could I have hit him? Is he dead? Ms. McCabe, the truth of the matter is you've manufactured this new story for this jury because you think it helps you out.
Absolutely not.
Lots of absolutely's.
Yes, you did. I don't believe you.
She is on fire. And I don't mean like she's doing great. I mean like the ship is on fire and it's about to reach the powder stores.
Sure. Okay. I'm convinced. I'm sold. Yeah, that's great.
We need to go to DEF CON Red. I need to start keeping a tally of how many witnesses we go to DEF CON Red on. But really, it's not in the grand jury transcript. Was she asked about that morning and never said it? Is this why it's in none of the police reports? What the fuck?
I am outraged.
Your Honor, if I could, I just want to close one loop.
Okay.
What I was referring to with Ms. McCabe, I want to make sure that this is clear because this has come up a couple of times. The only thing I was referring to, or what I was referring to, it's not the only thing, but what I was referring to with Ms. McCabe is after Ms. McCabe testified, days and days and days after she testified and she was excused as a witness, then we got the report from Lieutenant Tully about the new information that she disclosed on the witness stand. In other words, she was cross-examined about it, etc. And then after she testified and was cross-examined and gone, then we got a report that predated her testimony that was in the possession of the Commonwealth, or at least in the possession of Lieutenant Tully. That's what I was talking about. I just wanted to make sure that.
I'm saying that at her...
Do you remember it or do you not, Ms. McCabe? That's a simple question.
That morning, I don't remember specifically what I Googled, but I do know what you've put out to the social media.
How about this?
Oh my God.
Costs long to die in cold. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, it's been everywhere.
Why does that sound so familiar?
It's been
because
everywhere.
you put it out in social media.
Well, I haven't put anything out in social media because I don't personally have social media.
I'm sorry, Turtleboy did.
The data don't lie, people do.
Oh my God.
Costs long to die in cold is what you put in to the Google search, right?
If you say so.
She's saying
Is
that's
there
what
a reason that you don't want to admit to that?
She's like, that's what you say I said. She's really saying that's what you say I said, but I don't think that's what I said.
This does not make a witness look good when it's like, ma'am, you've talked about the harassment. You've talked about the high profile nature of this case. Are you being honest and being serious that you don't know what the whole Google search is that you asked and you don't know the language you asked, ma'am? Are you being serious? Because it seems like you're just trying to be difficult. That's what I felt watching this. If she would have just said, how long to die in the cold? I would have been like, okay, all right, next question. Let's see what else it is. I wouldn't automatically condemn her for that. She can still have the argument about the different times, but this back and forth again, there's parts of the indications it starts to lose credibility during cross when you do stuff like this.
This is, I mean, Bob, just in time, Bob.
Listen, dude, this is everything I dreamed it would be. It's everything I dreamed it would be. Man. Oh, it makes her look so fucking like guilty of something. I don't know what, but like, why wouldn't she
Thank
just
you.
say I Googled?
While she looks at that, Mr. Jackson, can we bring our clerk back upstairs?
Miss McCabe, what'd you have for breakfast? Can I see something to refresh my memory first? Did you have a glass of water with breakfast this morning? Do you have anything I can check to make sure? I don't know if I can trust you.
Move to publish this, Your Honor.
Okay.
Oh, good. We're going to get to see it on the big screen, everyone.
What does that Google search say?
House long to die in cold.
Now, you indicate that you did that, you made that search at 6:23 a.m., correct?
Correct.
Interesting that the searches are so close. Typos are different, but interesting that the searches are so close together, isn't it?
And then you indicated that you did it again thereafter at 6:24, correct?
Correct.
At 6:24, you misspelled the phrase and you spelled it as follows: how long TI die in CIKD, correct?
Correct.
That's what the defense is trying to show with all these different searches, that she tried to do the same typo in a later search to say it was something she searched after Karen Reed asked her and not during this alleged cover-up.
You've indicated under direct examination that these two searches were at 6:23 and 6:24 a.m., right?
I don't know if I gave exact times, but I said it was in the morning and Karen had asked me to do it.
Would you quarrel with the idea that those were about 30 seconds apart?
Okay.
And you're aware, Ms. McCabe, that both spellings, both misspellings of that phrase result in the exact same search results, don't they?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Well, you Googled them, ma'am. You're looking on your phone and you Googled how long to die in cold and how long to die in CIKD. Both of those. You Googled them, right?
I did, yes.
And they result in the exact same search results, don't they?
I have no idea.
Why the two searches?
She was standing next to me screaming, shaking my hand. My hand was cold. I was trying to Google it. Obviously, maybe whatever came up first didn't make sense because I had some misspellings, so I did it again.
I don't know, man. I mean, Google's pretty smart. I think they could figure out how to do that. I'm not sure that, but we did it twice because the search results were wildly different. Okay, that doesn't make sense, but yeah, right.
I mean, yeah, anytime you Google something and you get a typo in a part of it, you end up, there's always like a bar at the very top or an indication at the very top of the page where it says, did you mean this thing, idiot? Almost like it's like Google's telling me like, you're a dum-dum and you misspelled this, but we know what you mean. And then they give you all the results. Like that's, I mean, anyone knows that that's what that is.
So Hoslong to die in cold results in articles concerning dying of exposure, doesn't it?
We never got the chance to read it.
Well, you're the one, when you say we, who's we?
Karen and myself.
Well, you're the one holding the phone, Ms. McCabe.
Correct.
Why wouldn't you, like if she's screaming at you, why wouldn't you provide a result?
So you're looking down at your phone and you see exactly what comes up, right?
I don't remember exactly what came up.
Well, what came up was something about dying of hypothermia, didn't it?
That's what she asked.
So why do it again? Why do it again, Miss McCabe? You had the result. That's right. Why the second search?
Brilliant.
I cannot answer that beyond telling you that my hands were frozen. She was shaking me and screaming at me.
That's not an answer, lady.
And you see,
if you Google something and it gives you the answer that you're looking for, no matter what your typos are, why are you typing again unless you're trying to match a search that you did at 2:27 in the
you see
morning?
this first search that says Hoslong to die in cold?
I do.
But that doesn't make sense because if you wanted to get an answer on Google and I type in what time is the Mavs game and I type it in MAYS and it comes up with the time of the Mavs game, why do I need to search it again? Especially with the same typo I had a different time, right?
What's that time?
You've got the
2:27 a.m.
2:27
AM or PM?
a.m.
Wow. That's an amazing coincidence. It's so weird that 3.5 hours before you'd have any reason to search it, you just so happen to be searching the exact same thing that would become material 3.5 hours later. Wow, that's a lot of prognostication, man.
You made that search at 2:27 a.m. because you knew that John O'Keefe was outside in your sister's lawn dying in the cold, didn't you?
It's amazing. Once again, the Celebrite data. The Celebrite data once again provides these incorrect records, just like we saw earlier with the phone logs, right? I mean, John's phone is reporting phone calls that were made, but your phone somehow doesn't have those phone calls received. That's amazing.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
I thought before the argument was going to be, no, it wasn't 227. The records are wrong. It was actually 623. From opening statements, that's what I thought the argument was going to be. The fact that she did it twice and had to do it double time to get the right typo, that's why I felt personally this was the single worst piece of evidence for the Commonwealth, to prove that Karen Reed did this and that there wasn't some kind of weird involvement with other people there that seemingly knew John O'Keefe or somebody was lying outside in the cold at 2:27 a.m.
Absolutely not.
To cover your tracks, you searched it again in order to overwrite the original search at 2:27, correct?
Again, absolutely not.
Looking at the jury.
You were nervous and you screwed it up. So the first search you made at 6:23 was Hoslong to die in CIKD, wasn't it?
No.
You're conducting phantom searches, or your phone thinks it's conducting phantom searches. Your phone is searching for you somehow. This critical information, the Celebrate data is wrong once again. Wow, all these reports are wrong in a way that seems to implicate you. That would provide you what we call in the trade guilty knowledge, because there'd be no way for you to know to Google this except that you were involved. So you have guilty knowledge. Yeah, that doesn't look really convenient for you in your story, does it? Nope.
When you see the search right there, correct?
I see the search, but I disagree with your narrative.
And what's the time frame of that search?
I disagree with your narrative. She's saying she didn't make the 227 one, that was not a search that she did.
You disagree with the narrative because the narrative is I had knowledge when I wasn't supposed to, or maybe it's a pocket dial. It's a pocket search. The pocket somehow opened up the browser and typed in this exact phrase. Maybe your pocket did it. Maybe the pocket's the culprit. Has anyone investigated the pocket for the murder?
And what's the time frame of that search?
6:23.
And you agree that time frame is accurate, right?
Again, it's what the report says.
And that comports with your memory of that morning, about 6:23 in the morning and 51 seconds.
Correct.
Uh-oh. Was the one that got deleted the 227 one? Is that what he's gonna enlighten us with? Because that would be just absolutely chef's kiss for the defense.
I remember Googling it at the request of the defendant. Yes.
About 27 seconds apart, correct?
Yes.
But the reality is your first search didn't comport with the 2:27 a.m. search, did it? It was a different spelling, wasn't it?
I never searched a 227. That is not reality.
But the 6:24 search did.
That is not reality.
Mirror the search that, according to this report, took place at 2:27, correct?
I'm sure Celebrate will be able to explain it to you. I can't.
And then of those three searches, one of them ended up deleted. Isn't that right?
I never deleted any search.
Or 20 phone calls.
Take a look.
I've never seen Celebrate oopsie say something was deleted that wasn't deleted.
The column marked deleted.
And I mean, that was kind of an aha moment too. It's like you have three searches. One of them gets deleted. Which one do we think gets deleted? The one the defense is trying to point to as a cover-up.
You know, when there was that whole movie about like the lovers putting in letters to each other in mailboxes, but the mailboxes convey the letters through time. You know, you do understand that time traveling mailboxes are not really a thing. It was just a story device in that one movie that you can't really send messages backwards in time. Yeah, maybe you did it. Maybe you deleted it.
The data don't lie, people do.
We're not sure, so we're trying to figure out what happened, but due to the proximity of the roadway, that was our first inclination. I have nothing further.
You know when these questions would have been helpful, Lally? On direct.
I left it open-ended to the staff of the hospital that these are both possibilities of what happened to the patient.
And of course, if you had said that to the staff of the hospital, staff of the hospital would certainly put it in some of the medical reports, correct?
That calls for speculation.
They don't have to. It's really up to them.
And you're aware that none of those have that statement?
I'm not aware.
You testified that you treated Mr. O'Keefe upon arrival on January 29th, correct?
Yes.
Did a firefighter ever approach you on the morning of January 29th and tell you that he had information suggesting that the victim had been struck by a vehicle?
Objection.
Bravo.
Do you remember that?
I do not.
So if a firefighter indicated that he informed you that he had information suggesting that Mr. O'Keefe had been in some sort of vehicular accident, that's something that you would have included in your report, correct?
I don't know if that's a fair assumption.
But as you sit here today, you have no recollection whatsoever of anyone telling you that the victim had appeared to be in some sort of car accident, correct?
Something was said. Not good. What was it?
Well, I think, I don't have it in front of me, but I think my note that I prepared for Mr. O'Keefe states that per EMS report, so one of the medics, as in one of the folks on the ambulance who brought Mr. O'Keefe in, again, I'm not right in front of my note, but as I recall, it said something to the effect of per EMS report, the patient may have been struck by a vehicle.
Well, can I show you a copy of that report?
Please.
Uh-oh.
You could take a look at that.
All right, so,
I'll ask the question. Is your recollection fresh?
yes.
Is there anywhere on that report that says that the patient came in and there was a statement by EMS that the victim appeared to have been struck by a vehicle?
Just give me a moment to read through the.
Sure.
So no, there is not.
In fact, there's no mention of a vehicle whatsoever, correct?
That's correct.
I could have one moment, Ron.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
All right, get him, Liza.
And so for purposes of your calculation, if Ms. Reed drank alcohol after 12:45 a.m. and before her blood was drawn at 9:08 a.m., your entire calculation would be invalid.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. No further questions.
Something said. Not good.
No further questions.
Bingo! What did I tell you? Oh my God! Oh, she just hit it out of the park, yo!
So in this instance, Mr. Roberts, you're dealing with the time of incident that was known, correct?
Yes, it was given to me that it was at 12:45.
And as far as the BAC or the serum conversion that was coming from a medical record, as far as, so that was known as well at 9:08 in the morning.
The time that the blood was drawn, yeah, that was known as well.
Now, as far as the question you were just asked, if the defendant drank alcohol after 12:45,
Don't panic. Just come up with a good story.
does that include sort of shortly after 12:45, or how long after 12:45 would it take in order to affect your calculations or your retrograde extrapolation?
It's hard to say where that would have skewed it. It would have definitely caused a different time frame depending on how long after
That was
the incident or the reported last drink. If there was another drink in between there, it just shortened up the amount of time that would have been prior to the blood draw for sure.
Uh-oh.
What I'm asking is, would it have any significant impact, or would there be any difference if the last drink was, say, at 1 a.m. versus 5 a.m.?
So that'd be a 4-hour difference. So essentially that could, given the conversion rates, that would put the numbers very different. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, so the 5 a.m. would significantly impact your calculations, correct?
Yes.
The 1 a.m., would that significantly impact your calculations?
No.
If I could just ask one question. You said that you were given 12:45 as the time that you sort of based your analysis on. And to be
Yes.
clear, that was not something that was provided to you by my client, right?
No.
That was something that was provided to you from a police report.
Correct.
That's good.
No further questions.
That's a great question. Yeah.
All
So
right,
everything-
Mr. Roberts, you are all set.
You can't
sir.
trust
Thank you
anything these
very
guys
much.
said. His numbers are completely irrelevant because they're based on too many assumptions.
Okay, your next witness,
He's
Mr.
crushed.
Lally.
The data don't lie, people do.
It's safe to say that that was not some hot, passionate, long kiss, but you think it was more than just a friendly peck, correct?
I wouldn't describe it as a peck. I describe it as more than friends. It was a
Jesus
kiss.
Christ.
Well, you did describe it as a peck, didn't you?
Are we getting into whether or not there was tongue in this trial right now? I really don't want to fucking do this. I really don't want to do. I would like to be excluded from this.
Keep talking, Higgy. Getting Higgy with it.
Dating?
Wants to hook up.
Well, there's a
not
difference
send
between
flowers.
dating and hanging out. I mean, it's kind of hard to date somebody when you have a boyfriend.
Oh God, the hanging out.
Not if both people are dating other people.
You were
right?
just in the texting stage.
Well, I think I asked that question too.
There was no other hugs or kisses or certainly no sex.
No.
You didn't bang? Come on, Alan.
And when she said,
Alan, you know you want to. You know you want. He knows he wants to. It would be shady as fuck. But you know he wants to be like, you know he wants to say you didn't bang.
9 days of messages that were basically fluff. And Higgins thought this was like a real relationship. Just a peck. But now to him, that's just a figure of speech. Nobody's asked about tongue yet. So I don't know about that. But he got a cringe with babe in 9 days.
It was very normal for me to have that question in my mind when...
Sir, nothing about that text exchange was normal. But dude, just admit you wanted to, like... how do I put this that is YouTube friendly? You wanted to misplace your zucchini. Like, just admit that.
I have not heard from you.
and by the way, if you look at the next date down, what's the date underneath I have not heard from you?
The 23rd.
So this would have preceded the 23rd, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then on the 23rd, and by the way, after you texted, I have not heard from you, she did not respond, correct?
She did not respond.
Then on the 23rd, she did respond with phone works, correct?
In the arrows, like both ways.
Right.
Yep.
And then what did you text after that?
I just said, thought you were all set.
And how did she respond?
She said, we're talking? No.
Yeah, that's not super encouraging, is it? When they say phone works both ways. It's not, sorry I haven't been able to talk to you lately, baby. Not, man, I've been missing you. I'm so wonderful. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Hey, let me give you a call right now. Sorry I haven't been as responsive or as attentive as I should be. None of those things. Just a phone works both ways message. Not exactly the most encouraging message that there's truly a fire. Woof.
So clearly with that last text, her response was, in response to you saying, thought we were all set, she said, with talking, no. Correct?
Yep. Yes.
And then you responded, how?
Oh, snap.
I said, are you sure?
And did she respond?
No.
Ooh, sounds like he's getting friend zoned pretty hard. It's like, dude, just let her go. It's not worth your time. But he wants her. He wants her, so he's gonna keep on hope, baby. He's gotta keep on hope. All right, let's see what else happens.
So she basically ignored you the entire evening.
That's not how I interpret it, no.
I didn't ask you how you interpreted it. I asked you what she did. Did she ignore you or did she pay attention to you?
Objection.
You can go ahead and answer that. Did she ignore you?
No.
So she paid attention to you. Came over and said hello.
She
shook your
nothinged
hand,
you.
Gave you a hug.
She
Well,
nothinged
just because
him.
somebody didn't come over doesn't mean they ignored you.
Did she do those three things?
She nothinged.
Hug? What was the other thing?
Say hello, shake your hand, give you a hug.
No, she did not.
No, she didn't do any of those things, did she?
No.
Okay, this is his middle school showing. He's like a middle school boy. He doesn't want to admit that he's been ghosted and ignored, but she didn't say hello or give him a hug or say hello or greet him at all. And he's hurt. He's hurt by it, but he doesn't want to admit it. This is so weird.
Oh. But you didn't even exist.
I think that's dramatic. No, I don't look at it that way.
Oh, dude. You're dying out here. Now
this wouldn't be so bad, incidentally, if he had enough, manhood to be like, you know what? She doesn't want me and I don't care. But, his latching on, the beta orbiting thing. Yeah, it's not a good look, sir. It's not a good look. I think you're old enough to learn not to do that anymore. But I guess not. I guess being an ATF agent doesn't teach you that lesson.
Did that upset you that she ignored you or didn't pay attention to you?
I did not feel ignored and didn't upset me at all.
But it bothered you enough to send her a text, didn't it?
No, it was a flirtatious text. It was just, that was it.
It bothered you
Not
enough
flirtatious.
to send her a text.
Passive
that
aggressive.
said, with 6 M's behind it.
Okay.
And, well, correct?
Well, it wasn't like that. It was, well, that's it.
Just, well, like a well in the ground.
I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think you do too, sir. You meant, well, when are you going to pay attention to me?
No,
Fireworks
that's
to
not
the
correct.
start.
Well, why are you ignoring me?
It's not correct.
Well, am I chopped liver?
Objection.
All right, that's sustained. Mr. Jackson,
That's what
let's
I
move
take it as. 100%. 100%.
Do you know what the term ghosted means?
Ooh.
I think I have a general idea, yes.
She sort of ghosted you, didn't she?
Yeah.
I wouldn't agree with that.
Oh, this cross-examination is just like, Jackson, you might be kinder, just like sticking a knife into his kidneys and just twisting it a little bit. Oh, sir. Oh, the cringe on this one is so hard.
Watch this, Lise. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half. And now.
The data don't lie, people do.
That if I took it out, that it was either cut or broken.
It's not just possible.
So that
would have been after the date the order was already denied.
Mr. Higgins, I have one question left. One question.
If I did it.
Did you, Mr. Lally's already standing. I haven't even started.
have a seat, Mr. Lally. Go ahead. Last question, Mr. Jackson.
Quiet, please. Quiet.
Yeah. Sit
Have
down,
a seat,
Lally.
Mr. Lally. Go ahead. Last question, Mr. Jackson.
Quiet, please. Quiet.
Have a seat, Mr. Lally. Go ahead. Last question, Mr. Jackson.
Quiet, please. Quiet.
There's a second call just below that. On the same date at 2:22 and 52 seconds from you to Brian Albert.
Right.
Do you see that one?
Yes.
And the duration of that call is 22
seconds.
Correct?
I see that, yes.
So 17 seconds after you missed a call, according to these records,
you called back
from Brian Albert, you called him back, and there was a call lasting 22 seconds. Is that right?
That's what the records say.
May I approach?
Yes.
Sir, are you so the phone records are all just magically wonkadoodly? That's what the phone records say. Well, sir, how are you calling?
After you were shown these phone records at that prior hearing, in that hearing at least, you finally admitted that you did, in fact, call Brian Albert back, but this time you claimed the two of you just sort of sat in silence. Isn't that right?
Objection.
So I'm going to sustain it in that form. You can ask it.
They sat in silence on the phone back to teenage years, remember? You hang up first. No, 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 I want to listen to you breathe. I want to hear you sleeping. Okay, let's sleep while we're on the phone. Really? Weird.
Did you, in fact, tell the truth at the prior proceeding when you said, I don't remember that phone call?
I always tell the truth.
Did you
Oh,
lie
just
on
like
your oath,
Jen.
sir?
No, I did not.
Would you tell us if you did?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustain.
I always tell the
You
truth.
acknowledge that there's a 22-second phone call.
Well,
and why don't you
in your
tell us
phone
why
records,
you
correct?
broke your phone
That's
up?
what's
I wanna know
reflected by the record.
Yeah.
And 22
Sir,
seconds is quite.
You
the amount of
laughing
time.
isn't going to help.
It's 22 seconds.
As a matter of fact, it's about this long, with the court's permission.
The court does not give permission. That's argument, Mr. Jackson.
If we were to count off 22
With the court's permission, no.
It's not argument. It's confronting the witness with the length of time that it is. Let it go.
Let it go, let it go.
That's not inappropriate. Let them say that was a long time, wasn't it?
What's the question? Please read it for me.
Did you call him back?
What's the answer?
Yes.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
That was like pulling teeth.
Is it 22 seconds long enough to have a conversation?
I don't agree with it. No.
Hey, babe, I'll be home in 10. Love you. Bye.
Love you too.
See.
Now, prior call made then, correct?
He did? Did he say
Yes.
they were
What
butt
was your
dials?
explanation?
Well, I used a phrase that people commonly used as a butt
Fucking
dial.
hell.
So you think it's possible that you may have butt dialed?
Like everybody this night is suddenly butt dialing? Really? Why were your asses all needing to talk to each other?
God, there's a lot too many butt dials for this jury. I am certain.
So you think
Sex
it's
dials,
possible that
butt
you may have
hang-ups.
Butt dialed
Butt hands.
Brian Albert for a 22-second call that you're not aware of.
I think it's possible that he could have been inadvertently called back, but I have no recollection of that, nor did I have any conversation with anybody.
But you admitted that you lived.
Why are your asses talking to each other? Nobody has this many butt dials.
Oh my God. Everyone's ass in Canton. You guys need to they need to put a leash on their asses. Everything's a butt dial.
I think it's possible that he could have been inadvertently called back, but I have no recollection of that, nor did I have any conversation with anybody.
Every asshole in Canton needed to chat with every other asshole in Canton. And you can read that either way. But,
He works at the FBI's Regional Forensics Computer Lab, sir. Sir, you're playing coy about your knowledge of phones, and your bestie works for the ATF within the FBI Regional Forensics Computer Lab. Sir. Really?
So you reflected it correctly. So Matt Kelch is an ATF agent who works at the FBI Regional Computer Forensics Lab, correct?
Yes.
And he's an expert in digital forensics, is he not?
He has a level of expertise more than myself,
And
yes.
he's one of your best friends.
He is my best friend.
You spoke to him about the death of John O'Keefe, did you not?
Yes.
And you asked him for a personal favor, sort of off the books, correct?
Objection.
In that form, I'll sustain.
Oh,
Did
your
you ask him
face.
for a personal favor?
No.
Your face kind of says you did.
What's the question?
You knew it was an option to just hand your phone over. Just pick it up and give it to them.
And there was also an option to provide it to them as well.
Right. But you chose the one that you got to select the information, not the one where they would get everything, correct?
Objection.
Changes to that form.
And the reason you did that, Mr. Higgins, is that you wanted to control and limit the amount of information that was pulled off your phone, right?
Objection.
Yes.
Is that why you did it?
No, I did it because I wanted to provide it to law enforcement, Your Honor.
Without them taking your phone.
But you could have just provided your.
Without them taking your phone. Stop it right now. You wanted to provide them the text messages without giving you the entire phone. Come on now.
Did you utilize any computer or any data extraction?
Alan's getting too excited. Can you hear him?
Machinery, if you will.
Alan's getting too
Or something
excited.
to extract this data?
Well, it was a machine. I don't know what it's called.
What the fuck is happening? Alan is getting way too excited and he's tripping over his questions. What kiosk?
Data extraction machinery, if you will. A computer or something to extract this data?
Well, it was a machine. I don't know what it's called.
Okay, fair enough. I'll use the word machine. I don't know what it's called either. So you hooked that phone up to a machine, correct?
Yes,
And that machine belonged to the FBI. It didn't belong to you. Is that right?
that's correct.
So that was a federal resource, not for anything having to do with any official case that you were working. Isn't that right?
Objection.
So I need to see your notices.
Fifth. Oh, he looks nervous now. Yeah. Don't be using the official resources for your personal business. People just can't abide by those restrictions. But using FBI stuff to like commit a fraud, something like that, this whole Proffer situation is maybe starting to come a little clearer.
So he's using FBI resources to extract what from his phone because he provided screenshots of the terribly cringy texts, but you're not allowed to use just government they're letting the jury out.
Play the Muppet sound.
We don't have any Muppet sound.
That was wonderful. Bravo. I loved that. Oh, it was great. Well, it was pretty good. Well, it wasn't bad. Well, there are parts of it that weren't very good, though. It could have been a lot
Hey, it's
better.
Gacy and Bob Sr.
Or it's Bob and Jay.
Oh, you gotta work the mouth. You're not working the mouths right.
Oh, damn it.
Jesus.
The data don't lie, people do.
And you might be horrified, to use a Jen McCabe word, when you hear about it. Okay, let's go.
This was the Aruba incident, which we've heard a little bit about before day 16. All the way back on day 1, we heard from Paul and Aaron O'Keefe, John's brother and sister-in-law. And they testified about a number of things. One of those being an incident that happened in Aruba around New Year's Day 2022. So earlier in that same month that John died.
Etta Sullivan. Etta testified that John was in the lobby, seemingly intoxicated and stumbling, and gave her a hug. And then as she was walking away, she heard John's name being screamed in the lobby and something like, "Who the fuck is that?" And he was like, "Calm down." When I'm saying he was like, she was like, this is how the testimony came in. "Calm down. That's Laura's little sister." And then she was like, "Go fuck yourself." And then Etta was like, "Well, fuck you too." And that's really all they spoke. And then Etta told her sister Laura, "I don't know if you guys like John O'Keefe's new girlfriend, but she sucks."
They had a misunderstanding, right? They had some tension. She was upset. She was angry. She was all of this, right? She is super unhappy about this. And then she figures it out. She figures out that, hey, it didn't happen.
Karen was acting in a way we didn't like. Karen seemed jealous. Karen seemed possessive. Karen seemed something. Karen seemed upset. That's what it sounds like to me. And I got to tell you, frankly, all this drinking I'm hearing about, probably not going to be flying real strong with me either. This is just not a good scene. It really sounds like a freaking frat party New Year's. I wouldn't enjoy being there personally. Not my scene at all.
And examples of the defendant's big generosity to the people around her is something that makes me think she's not money hungry. When she has it, she seems to like to share it. If anything, this shows generosity, grace, and a certain degree of understanding that it's kind of on her to get into the good graces of the people who have been important in John's life for a long time and not the other way around.
This seems like such a non-starter. Like, this seems like such a minor issue. A month prior, they have a blow up and they resolve it. And then they're still together a month later. And a month later, they are seen and apparently being super affectionate. She apparently says, I was in the wrong. I fucked up. I got it wrong. And she was offering to, like, pay part of her room costs.
And I'm just like, that's it?
Do something wrong. I think the right thing to do is apologize and try to make up for it. I think you should try not to do the wrong things, right? You should try not to, scream at people drunkenly and, be jealous and whatever. But if you do that, I think the appropriate thing is to apologize. That's not to say, and to me, that's where I struggle a little bit with this testimony. I'm not sure how it applies necessarily to what happened on January 28th.
The data don't lie, people do.
Trooper Proctor, you were notified.
I am not Trooper Proctor.
I'm sorry. No, you're not. Sergeant Buchnick.
Sergeant Buchanan.
Just ask some questions about meeting.
What was his name? What was his name? Say his name.
Me, my husband, Trooper Proctor, and Trooper Bukaki.
Sergeant Buchanan.
He called him Bukaki.
Michael Proctor. How do I say it?
Buchanan.
Trooper what now?
Michael Proctor.
Objection.
You and your husband. Buchanan?
Yes.
Is that better?
That's better. Thank you.
If I screw it up again, please. I'm sorry. No, you're not.
I'm sorry. That was such a Freudian slip by Jackson.
Holy shit! That didn't just fucking happen.
I am not Trooper Proctor.
I'm sorry. No, you're not. Sergeant Buchanan.
Sergeant Buchanan.
I'm sorry. No, you're not.
Did you catch that? Did you catch that one? That was hilarious.
I can't. I can't right now.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Is that better?
That's better. Thank you.
Could go with Bukaki
If I
for that.
screw it up again,
Stop.
please.
Bukaki.
No, you opened the door, Allie. You opened the door. You opened it.
On January 29th.
Sergeant Buchanan.
How do I say it?
Buchanan.
That's funny.
How do I say it?
Buchanan.
Okay, well, we've learned how to pronounce his name. It's Buchanan.
I'll give that a
Can't.
shot.
It's fine.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Is that better?
I am not Trooper Proctor.
I'm sorry. No, you're not. Sergeant Buchanan.
Sergeant Buchanan.
How do I say it?
Buchanan. I am not Trooper Proctor.
I'm sorry. No, you're not.
No, you're
Sergeant
not.
Buchanan.
That's why we need
Sergeant
him
Buchanan.
too.
How do I say it?
Buchanan.
Oh, he's getting haughty now. I don't know if that was intentional or if that was by accident, but I'm here for it. I'm living for it. I got to hear that again.
That's better. Thank you.
If I screw it up again, please.
The data don't lie, people do.
Where do we even start with this tonight? This is unbelievable. What happened today on the stand?
Trial's over. It's over.
The chat was like, this flipped. Look at the 4 on the bay. Look at the writing on the back of the cop car. This video looks flipped, like we are looking at the driver's side of Karen Reed's car and not the passenger side of Karen Reed's car. But it was never asked in direct examination, not once.
This spectacle with the Sallyport video is something that as lawyers, you never see this. I mean, you have to really grasp the magnitude of what Lally did, what it says about him, what it says that the jury thinks about him, what it says about the case, what it says about Proctor, and any number of things.
Like, even if we don't necessarily look at it from an ethical standpoint, but just a best practices standpoint, because you really open yourself up to the risk that you're going to get called out by the other side and that the jury's going to lose some faith in you, that you're being forthcoming with them.
When he offered that video yesterday, he offered that as a straight shooter. Okay. And if that was some kind of fakakta inverted video, when you offered that, you are ethically required as an attorney in offering evidence to be fair, accurate, and credible in what you're doing, and he wasn't.
My camera right here, I can show you magic because I can do the same thing. Look at my hand. I'm now raising my one hand. I can't figure out what you see on screen. Now I lift my other hand. Oh, look, magic.
You went through your entire testimony about this yesterday, and you never felt the need. You told them this was accurate and truthful, and you never felt the need to clarify that what they're actually looking at is the driver's side and not the passenger side. You never felt the need to clarify that this is not what it seems. Is it accurate? Is it accurate? It's sure misleading, isn't it? It's sure misleading.
But more importantly, when you realize that they flipped the image, the right rear taillight is essentially out of view and being humped by Proctor on the other side doing God knows what for a period of time. He does appear to kind of walk away when someone else is coming. And then when you focus on that, you learn other things, such as people are apparating out of nowhere and reappearing. The time counter is all messed up, which clearly tells you that in addition to being inverted, it's spliced, it's fixed, it's not real.
So Jackson pointed out frequently that it leaves the wrong impression that they are looking at the passenger side of the car, not the driver's side of the car, because it was never asked on direct examination. And the officer didn't offer it when saying, is that a true and accurate representation of what you saw in the Sally Port? He never said it is a mirror of what happened. So we're looking at the driver's side of the car. That was never elicited until cross-examination, which Alan Jackson pointed out multiple times. So when you see people walking around the back of the car, they're walking around the passenger side back of the car, not the driver's side rear of the car.
Is this correct now?
Yes, it is. But I'm also dyslexic, so it's always been correct.
I had to remember I have to switch the letters around as well.
If that was a fair and accurate portrayal of the Sally Port and the car coming in and all of that, and it was anything but, because everybody knows the car is only as interesting as the right rear taillight is interesting. And they offered a video which purported to show in plain view for all to see a right rear taillight, which interestingly enough, and this goes more to their intent and how scummy this all is, there was white light showing on that taillight. So, and that's the good taillight we now know, which makes you wonder if they did something to that.
I don't want to say that this is like super common in litigation, because it is a dirty tactic. It really is a dirty tactic. And I think that the better option for Lally would have been to point out to the jury on direct examination, okay, now notice police is written backwards. Notice number 4 is written backwards. What's up with that? It's mirror imaged. Okay, so let's look at the other side. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been a much better practice.
What happened today turned this from a serious criminal trial into a cartoon.
How did you discover that the image was inverted?
I saw the word police and thought I had dyslexia. The timestamp across the bottom is not inverted, which means somebody had to put that on the inverted, the manipulated, the altered video on purpose.
The data don't lie, people do.
We saw photographs, Sergeant, of items that were butted up against a fire hydrant in one instance, correct? Is that yes?
That's correct, yes.
A drinking straw that's out in the road, correct?
That's correct.
Another shard of glass that's in the grass, closer to
correct.
the flagpole, correct?
Correct.
A hat that's under the snow, adjacent to the left side of the flagpole, correct? I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was closer to the electrical box, wasn't it?
No, the pictures documented where the hat was.
No, you never
It was
showed
to the
us.
right of the flagpole.
So these shards of glass, the point I'm asking is, did you seek to use basic cross coordinates, measurements from something that you know is a known object? Like, for instance, I don't know, a flagpole or a fire hydrant. 27 inches to the north and a foot and a half to the south of those two known points. That would give you a cross coordinate, correct?
It would document the exact location, correct?
And you did not do that with any of these items, correct?
The items that were not photographed were not also GPS located, but they were within the same vicinity of where the other items were
Shouldn't everything
collected.
be photographed?
But again, and the first report that indicates anything that happened or was recovered at the location on either February 4th or February 10th, that was first notated in a report dated November 4th, 2023.
What?
Year and a half, year and several months later, correct?
If you say so, I do not know the exact date. That report would have to be presented to me.
Do you need Alan Jackson to keep going down this trail, or are you already just like, okay, so you just went and picked stuff up and put it in evidence bags, but you didn't document where it was? It was just in a 30 square foot radius. Okay.
We collected so much evidence that it wasn't important to call the crime scene team in just to take pictures of some more pieces of evidence. Wow.
Because again, whether you believe the defense's theory of the case or not, does anyone think that this was done well? And it not being done well might be the problem for all of the jurors. They might be like, look, I don't know if it is a massive cover-up or if it's just incompetence, but it doesn't matter at this point, because how do you convict someone when this is what they're doing? Like, where are those things? Like, a picture of a piece of thing in snow gives me no context to where it came from.
I don't understand why they had this sort of this other approach of like, well, we'll come back in a week, we'll come back in a few days, we'll come back, then long after snow has been melting. I don't know. I mean, to me, it doesn't make sense. These responses they're not convincing me that what they did was the proper way of doing things to get the evidence that they needed in a way that was methodical, in a way that people can objectively trust.
But I don't know if Alan needs to keep going, because they're like, no, we didn't need crime scene to come out and do it. Nah, we're fine. Maybe you need them to come out to ask them where they shoveled that snow to, because they were shoveling out tons of snow. So evidence could have moved.
Got to do a grid search. But for every day forward, you need to drive by to see if any more evidence will reveal itself. It's like a scavenger hunt.
And now we're back to the same question.
Oh my God, I'm so frustrated by this.
Your word for vicinity might be different than my word for vicinity, right?
Objection.
Right.
Sustain.
But that's right. It's just not a good investigation.
I knew that it would be documented. It was already documented on the actual bag as far as.
What?
Shame on you. We are outraged.
The data don't lie, people do.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Could you please state your name?
Sir, can you just answer the questions asked? Because we've had a really rough go with the last witness, and we're all a little exhausted. I feel kind of gaslit, and I'm doubting whether reality is as it seems. So could you just witness 56 be kind to us?
This might have been the first witness I felt like he actually got to the point relatively quickly without a million backup questions about where he drove, how long it took him, what he put on in the morning before he went to work, what his normal schedule is, all that stuff. And we kind of get to the meat and potatoes of his testimony. It was pretty short and sweet, but this was very interesting to me.
Where did you proceed?
I had parked my marked police vehicle at the end of the driveway since it was a snowstorm and we could not get into the driveway. And then we walked up to the residence.
So when you say it was a snowstorm and we couldn't get into the driveway, can you expound upon that a little as far as explain to the jury why it was that you couldn't get into the driveway?
There was about a foot of snow in the driveway.
Because it was snowing. It was snowing. This is the number one fact that we know has absolutely been proven beyond reasonable doubt.
The driveway. Can you expound upon that a little as far as explain to the jury why it was that you couldn't get into the driveway?
There was about a foot of snow in the driveway.
We saw the video of the driveway. The driveway actually did have a bit of snow.
And as far as that snow that you observed when you arrived there, was that snow, how did that snow appear as far as, did it appear as if it had been shoveled or snow blown
appeared like
or
snow.
untouched or how did it?
It was untouched.
It had not been blown. It did not have
Now,
its
as
skis
you're,
on or off.
Going through the snow, and correct me if I'm wrong, but now as far as you were there specifically for a vehicle, correct?
Correct.
Did you observe a vehicle in the driveway at any time?
Yes, we observed a black Lexus SUV in the driveway. I had an officer that was field training with me that day, and he was with me as well. And we went up to the residence.
In the snow.
And as you're walking, what, if anything, did you come upon as you're going towards, say, any door or getting closer to the home?
More snow.
I remained at the garage.
I actually just want to hear from the tow truck driver. Can we just get to that? I'd really like to hear from the tow truck driver.
The
and see if
owner
he took pictures.
and he responded.
Now, as far as you received that call at about 2:30, do you know specifically who you spoke to around 2:30 in the afternoon?
Trooper Michael Proctor.
2:30 in the afternoon, he was called by the Massachusetts State Police. And they told him, we're coming to tow a car that was involved in a motor vehicle homicide by 2:30. They had not found any pieces of taillight by that time, as we know. They found a broken drinking glass at the scene, 6 droplets of blood, a body with a huge gash to the back of his head. Looked like he went 10 rounds with Mike Tyson with what clearly appeared to be some sort of dog bite injuries to his right arm. No torso injuries, no leg injuries, no knee injuries. But at 2:30 p.m., Proctor and/or Buchanan call Dighton and say, we're coming to tow a vehicle that was involved in a motor vehicle homicide. Let that sink in.
If anything, did you observe about that area of the vehicle?
I saw that there was some damage to the right rear taillight.
Okay, this guy is going to describe the damage to the right rear taillight when the vehicle was picked up, when the vehicle was retrieved from that property.
There was some damage to that right rear taillight, okay? And to his best recollection?
To my best ability and recollection, that taillight was not completely damaged. It was cracked, and a piece was missing, but not completely damaged.
Interesting.
And then beyond the taillight area?
Cracked and a piece was missing. That testimony is consistent with Jen McCabe, Carrie Roberts, and everybody else. Cracked and a piece was missing. Not the entire casing of the taillight was gone. Isn't that interesting?
This dude, I believe, was telling the truth, right? This, to me, sounds like the impact from Karen Reed hitting the other car, right? So this, to me, made perfect sense. And I was like, oh, that matches what we've heard from other people who said cracked.
And a piece was missing.
The taillight area of that vehicle?
It was cracked and a piece was missing, and it was not completely damaged.
That taillight was not completely damaged. It was cracked, and a piece was missing, but not completely damaged.
And then,
so that to me, because that I did see, and I was just like, wow, thanks, Lally, you just put on the defense's case. I mean, this guy, I felt, was very clear to go out of his way to say what I observed. In my opinion, it wasn't missing. There wasn't a pieces missing. There was a small piece missing and it was cracked.
I mean, why call this guy? Unless you knew the defense is going to call him, you already have people testifying like, Yuri, it was smashed. There's all these pieces, blah, blah, blah. You have other people saying that.
It was cracked and a piece was missing, but it was not completely damaged. You know, I've seen the pictures later on, right? I've seen the pictures later along the, when it's in the Sally port.
Cracked with a piece missing. I actually thought, now, like relevancy wise and proving this case, I thought this witness might have been more important for the defense than Proctor. Cracked with a piece missing, which is like exactly what the defense's theory of the case is.
So you think that the jury is going to think that this guy meant that the one piece was missing was the 45-piece jigsaw puzzle that the tech put together? Like
Right.
that's what you're saying.
I
Like,
think it's the one piece that they couldn't put back
right,
together because
that's exactly what it is. It's exactly the small piece in the corner.
And this guy wanted to make sure, everybody knew it wasn't smashed like it had been hit with a hammer and 50 pieces were going to be found.
I don't think that this is going to be a good thing for the prosecution. He just testified that it was cracked. There was a piece missing, but it was not completely damaged.
So they even confirmed he walked up to it. Maybe they wanted to get out the dent part, that it was dented, and that somehow proves it. But I think this was a good witness for the defense. And I think the defense thought it was a good witness for the defense because there was no cross. No reason to cross this witness. All they would have asked him is, was it cracked or did it look like it had been smashed? And they didn't need to. Was there a piece missing or 40 pieces missing? I thought this was a big witness for the defense.
Yeah, that's not good for the prosecution. That's inconsistent with finding these ginormous cracked pieces that were completely shattered, that were found at 34 Fairview Road days and weeks later. I don't think that's good for the prosecution. Why did Lally call this guy? Why did he call him? Yeah, this is kind of a problem for Lally, I think. Retro.
The data don't lie, people do. The data don't lie, people do.
Sub A, B, C, and D of 712 were compared with 3-2 and 3-3. A lot of numbers, right?
Yes, there are a lot of numbers, items.
Okay. I want to try, if I can, see how well it goes, to clear that up and categorize those.
Sure.
Perhaps, would you agree that we could put the items that you compared and examined in your analysis in 4 categories: 3-2, the cup or the glass; 3-3, the bumper glass; 7-12, the 9 pieces of glass recovered by a trooper named Buchnick at the scene; and 7-14, a single piece of glass recovered by a trooper named Proctor at the scene. Would you agree that those 4 categories are basically what you analyzed between and among each other?
Yes, there's 4 total items.
Okay. So if I could ask you to take those one at a time, pardon me, 3-2, under that column, visually, that would be a single item, just the cup, correct?
Correct.
3-3, under that single item, the bumper, there would be 5 sub-items, A, B, C, and D, and E.
Yes, that's correct.
Public school education. Under 712, the third column, there's 9 pieces, correct? A, B, C, D, E, F as in Frank, I, K, and L are the 9 glass pieces, correct?
Correct.
And then, of course, the last category would be 7-14. That's a single piece of glass that was recovered at the scene by Trooper Proctor, correct?
Correct.
All right. I'm going to ask you to take your comparisons one at a time, if I can. You compared the cup in 3-2 to the 9 pieces recovered at the scene.
Yes, that's correct.
Of those pieces that I just mentioned, the cup was a match to A, B, C, D, F, and K, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Pieces E and I were compared to each other, and you matched them, correct?
So I believe I'd have to look further in my notes, but I believe E and I were found to fit together by, I would have to check my notes, but I believe it was the previous analyst that looked at 7-12 that found the physical match between E and I.
Great. Importantly, E, I, and L, however, were not found to match the cup in 3-2, correct?
That's correct.
All right. You also compared the cup in 3-2 to the 5 items recovered on the bumper in 3-3, correct?
I compared item 3-2 to 2 of the pieces marked as A and B from item 3-3,
And those
which
were
was
deemed not to match the cup, correct?
correct.
And you did not analyze C and D, correct? I'm assuming that's because of size.
So the rest of the items were not used for physical match examination due to size and condition.
So as you sit here, none of the items on the bumper were deemed to match the cup, correct?
Correct.
All right. So you did end up analyzing one of the items on the bumper, item E as in echo, and you analyzed that against the single piece of glass found at the scene in 7-14, correct?
Correct.
So, importantly, you also compared the single piece of glass in our sort of visual column 4, 7-14, that single piece of glass, to the cup. We found that it didn't match, correct?
Correct.
All right.
The data don't lie, people do. The data don't lie, people do.
Okay, so now your testimony is that's not the area of impact.
I never said that was the area impact. I said it's after that.
Trooper, we were all here on Friday.
Okay.
Bang, bang.
This is
Yes.
point of impact is
Oh, thank you.
point of impact is here, where he gets thrown back and to the left, and then glass shards are flying forward. Don't think about it.
Okay.
It makes sense if you don't think
Well,
about
because
it.
going
Then
back.
Karen Reed's car continues to travel, what you can see in the data they shared, roughly to the middle of the house. This is where the data ends that we see. At this point, the car is doing 23.6 miles per hour. This is a Jeep with a snowplow in front. Karen Reed, after data ends, without doing any key triggers, because this is when the EDB would have kicked in. Either she hits the brake immediately, slamming the brakes, and would end up roughly around here, if my mathing is correct. So she would plow into the car, go up to the driveway, end up in the driveway, or she would do what John O'Keefe can do when he did his twisted somersault, and she evaded the car with 23.6 miles per hour in reverse in a slippery street without touching the car.
Bang, bang.
Say if the car backed up, hit somebody, and then they go a certain amount of distance, and it's based on miles per hour, speed of the vehicle, striking vehicle, and stuff.
That doesn't
Remember saying that?
Yes.
What did you mean by stuff?
I don't know.
when the attorney is more of an expert than the witness, you got a problem, man. You got a problem. Woo!
You know John O'Keefe's weight, 217 pounds, right?
Yes.
Did you know that?
I don't know his weight, no.
So how did you calculate trajectory if you didn't know the weight of the object that supposedly flew?
Yes.
I legitimately, you guys know, I always say, defer to the expert. Don't try to fight with the experts on their expertise. I legitimately think, I won't use myself. I think Alan Jackson knows more about accident reconstruction than this expert. And when that's the case, it's not good for the expert because we're also lawyers. And we know how to use words and ask questions that are going to highlight your deficiencies. And Alan Jackson comes out swinging against this guy. This guy takes a sip.
Whatever's in that's not going to help.
So do you hold any degrees in the scientific discipline of mathematics?
I do not.
Do you hold any degrees in the scientific discipline of physics?
I do not.
Hold any degrees in the scientific discipline of biomechanics?
No.
How about in engineering?
No.
How about in kinematics?
No.
What's the highest degree that you do hold, sir?
I have an associate's degree.
In what?
Administration of justice.
Ooh.
What? Okay. So our expert witness has an associate's degree, a 2-year degree. Not exactly the most promising start. You are an expert witness, apparently, in accident reconstruction, and you have no higher education really to speak of except community college. Great. We're off to a really, really auspicious start over here. That's fantastic news.
How would you calculate that?
In pedestrian collisions, I use a Searle throw formula.
A what formula?
Searle.
What does that mean?
It's a type of formula that we use for a calculation of post-impact
So
or speeds for pedestrians.
that includes certain principles of physics to calculate that, right?
What do you mean?
I'm sorry?
What do you mean by certain forms of physics?
Oh, Jesus.
There would be physics calculations that would be required. If his cell phone was found under his torso, under his body, what's your theory on how that cell phone ended up flying 30 feet with it?
It just did.
It just did.
And somehow
That's your
as it
answer?
landed, tucked that cell phone underneath his body so it landed on top of it.
You're the expert.
It just did. That's the evidence at the scene. I didn't put the evidence there. So
You didn't put the evidence. Oh my God. This is such a softball for AJ. I didn't put the evidence there.
So
Well, you didn't.
Objection. All right, so jurors, I told you before, lawyers cannot make.
Modern mathematics is thwarted by a sideswipe.
objection.
Is that what you're saying?
The calculations that are out there. You can get a speed. of
Answer the question. Are you saying the laws of physics are thwarted
You
by
would
a
have to know
sideswipe?
what the initial momentum of the object
Laws of
is.
physics do not
It's
apply.
in motion. Have you ever heard of the phrase confirmation bias?
I know the phrase, yes.
You know what it means?
I can definitely say what it means.
Let me make sure I understand this. You are the accent reconstruction expert with your associate degree, and you can't provide a colloquial definition of what confirmation bias is, which once again, it's on the label. It's on the label. Just listen to the words and it will tell you exactly what it is. Just listen and you'll know the answer.
You can't answer the question.
Worst witness ever.
It's what was told to me as evidence.
Got it. By whom?
By the crime scene.
Just bruh.
Who told you?
As crime scene that was there, it says there's glass from the cup. When I did my initial inspection, that's what it was on from.
That's not what you just said. You said that's what was told to me.
Yeah, by crime. No, yeah, I said you by crime scene. While I was at my inspection.
Wait, what?
It was told to me by the crime scene when I was at my inspection, at the initial inspection.
So what you meant by that's what was told to me is the crime scene talked to you.
Yes.
Crime scene say anything else?
I don't know what else you want me to say.
He doesn't seem to remember who told him what. So if he can't remember that, I don't think he should be able to testify to it. But the judge allowed him to. But he says, yeah, the operator was Karen Reed. We know it was her car, but I don't know. Like, where did he get all of the stuff for the time that the incident actually happened? Experts can get it from other people, but usually we have to know where it came from to be able to test it.
He doesn't know who told him. It's basically gossip, I guess, which sounds perfectly fine for a police investigation. He's not quite sure where the information's coming from. But he hears it in the wind about these critical facts. Okay, sure. I mean, that's cool and normal.
Would it change your opinion in any way if you knew that the glass pieces do not match the cup?
Objection.
That's in evidence.
No.
Why not?
Sorry. No.
I don't. It's glass from a cup. It's glass. It's not. It doesn't belong to the vehicle.
Right.
It's glass.
So?
But if I told you it didn't match that cup,
What?
your opinion.
Objection.
Does that change your opinion?
Are we talking which cup? We never established which cup we're talking about.
How many cups have we been talking about, Trooper?
You said that cup. One from the scene.
Earlier, I thought he just didn't understand. We're not there any longer.
You'd have to know what the initial momentum is, not speed, momentum. There's a difference.
Okay.
Oh,
Right?
Jesus.
Would you agree with that?
No.
What the fuck?
Do you have any scientific evidence that those scratches occurred on January 29th at approximately 12:45 a.m.?
What do you mean by scientific evidence?
Well, you said there's no evidence that he rolled.
And there's no evidence that he flew through the air either.
Exactly. Right? Exactly.
Objection.
Sustained.
Oh, he asked a question. He said exactly right.
That was beautiful.
That's not what I asked.
I know. I'm just saying. You asked me. You said what I'm just responding to what you said, and trying to make sure you understand what I'm saying.
No, I don't. But I'll ask another question. Shoes are strapped on by definition, right? So every time somebody slows down, going in reverse or forward, and introduces a 10-degree input on the steering wheel, doesn't mean they're looking to hit a pedestrian, correct?
Correct.
You testified that you determined the area of impact.
So when I looked at it, it didn't quite fit the pedestrian thing. So when you showed me the video,
It didn't quite fit the pedestrian thing, is his expert testimony. Sir?
I don't know. I wasn't there, so I don't know how the glass
don't know. I wasn't
stayed with
there?
his body and went with him to the
I
final
wasn't
rest.
there.
I mean,
You're not a witness. You're a reconstruction expert. Your entire job is predicated on you not being there.
The pedestrian thing? So they told you it was a motor vehicle versus pedestrian, and then you were now looking for explanations of what would fit or not fit the pedestrian thing. I'm so glad these questions came after the confirmation bias questions.
Would you need to apply the theory of conservation of momentum in calculating these data?
Do I need to calculate the conservation of momentum?
Or calculation, of conservation of momentum?
Yes.
You even know what that is? There's an equation for that as well, right?
Do you know what
Yes.
that is?
You know what that is?
Not off the top of my head, but yes.
Oh.
E equals MC squared.
24 miles an hour and 62 feet. That gives you some numbers to start with. And if you're an expert, you can work this stuff, right? You should be able to reconstruct this. She started here. She ended here. His body flew this far. The pieces shattered and they flew this far. And that makes sense because when it shatters, they go in this direction. I'm making it up. But this is what experts do. They take measurements. They explain the force in which her SUV, it's 7,000 pounds or whatever. So a 7,000 pound vehicle driving 24 miles an hour could easily do this amount of damage. The force calculation equals this, something that sounds really smart.
What's your theory on how that cell phone ended up flying 30 feet with it?
It just did.
It just did.
And somehow, as he landed, tucked that cell phone underneath his body, so he landed on top of it.
It just
watching
did.
his
That's
career go up in
the evidence at the
flames.
scene. I didn't put the evidence there. So
All right, so jurors, I've told
Who
you
did
before,
put the
lawyers
evidence there?
cannot make comments, so disregard it. Mr. Jackson,
Who
don't do
did
it
put
again.
the evidence there, Mr. Paul?
So you understand, but don't do it. Your answer is always, I understand. Don't do it.
The less defensive this trooper is with Jackson, the worse he makes things for himself. Because the more he talks, the worse it gets. It didn't fit the pedestrian thing.
Oh my God, you cannot make this up.
Define kinematics for the jurors.
it deals with the aspect of motion.
It's a subfield of what broader field?
Kinematics.
Is a subfield of what broader field?
Subfield of what broader discipline of science?
Wouldn't that be physics?
I'm not sure.
Which would be physics
Physics.
for 100.
Total momentum before the collision, is it greater or less than the total momentum after the collision? Basic question.
What type of collision?
Mr. Paul, they're exactly equal in all respects under the principles of physics, right? That's the theory of the conservation of momentum. Momentum doesn't change. What's that called? The rate of velocity. What's another word for that?
The rate of velocity?
Correct.
I mean, it deals with the motion. It deals with forward, and also deals with speed. It deals with travel and speed. If something's moving, it also has a speed to it.
Right. The word you're looking for is acceleration, correct?
Sure.
Sure.
What role does acceleration play in the field of kinematics?
So even having the definition provided to you, you can't be like, oh yeah, that's the definition. You're just like, well, if you say so. Who's the expert in the room now?
Isn't it true, Trooper Paul, that there is a singular calculation for determining initial momentum? That is P equals M times phi, where P is the momentum. You're solving for that. M is mass. You multiply that by velocity. Is that right? Pretty simple.
You wouldn't use that in a pedestrian collision.
Oh, because the pedestrian's somehow magically out of the realm of physics?
Objection.
Sustained.
Is the pedestrian out of the realm of physics and calculations?
No, it's the weight differential between the pedestrian and the vehicle.
You should be able to figure this stuff out. How much does the glass weigh? What do you expect it to fly? What about a shoe? Like, you should be able to calculate those numbers and at least give a range of what you would expect to happen. Just because it was a side swipe, like, so then you just can't do anything. That's basically what he said. I mean, it's wild. Sorry, I keep interrupting him. Let's get what his actual opinion is, because it's not any of that.
Could you use displacement using kinematic equations?
So like I said before, the side swipe, he would not have gotten 100% of the vehicle, 100% of the speed of the striking vehicle. It would have vastly underestimated the
side swipe
vehicle.
one more
You
time.
couldn't hit a person and side swipe them, spin them off to the side, and have that and get that
fast
speed
must
from
this
that
car have been
calculation.
doing?
So you're
Speed of
saying
light to launch a guy off a sideswipe 30, 50 feet
This is
across
where
the
physics
fucking road?
Cannot figure out how far
Yes.
John O'Keefe's body would move. But you personally,
Projected, I mean, like I don't say he flew all the way there. He was projected in that way. He got pushed forward in that
30
direction.
feet, 30 feet, 30 feet, 30 feet. He's got no lower body injuries where the bumper would have hit his body, no hip injuries, no torso injuries, no bruising, no leg injuries, no knee, no ankle, no injuries.
are you saying that the principles of physics are incapable of determining with the proper calculations how far John O'Keefe's body would have moved given the collision at issue?
Objection.
Is that what you're saying, Trooper?
No.
Okay, next question.
You just said because it was a side swipe, all these calculations, these physics calculations are inapplicable, right?
But I'm saying it would underestimate the speed and the distance. The calculations would vastly underestimate the speed of the vehicle.
You testified.
The calculations would vastly underestimate the speed of the vehicle. Wouldn't the speed of the vehicle be one of the factors of the calculations? If you didn't do the calculation, then how do you know what it vastly underestimates? Did you do the calculations and they disagreed with your opinion? Is that the problem here? Because I have questions.
If I may approach her just for...
Okay.
He's not even listening to the questions. When Jackson's like, that means you're hitting a pedestrian every time you reverse and turn 10 degrees, he's like, yes. No. No, it does not mean
May I
that.
approach?
Yes.
The taillight cracks, and as it passes by, his arm stays with it long enough to get striations, those scratches that you see, those lacerations, those abrasions that you see, right?
In a sense, yes.
In a
Same
sense,
time,
yes.
He does a pirouette and flies 30 feet to his final point rest.
I don't know if he did a pirouette.
Well,
You said he did.
He spun around.
You said he just
He
spun
started
counterclockwise.
rotating counterclockwise. Which cup we're talking about?
Wow.
How many cups have we been talking about, Trooper?
How many
You
cups?
said
about the
that
same?
cup. One at from the scene? Okay.
That cup? I'm talking
I just want to make sure that we're on the clear path here.
The clear path?
What we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, we are as far from clear as you can get. This is like a black, muddy river, to quote a Grateful Dead song. This is the furthest thing from clear. What other glass cup are we talking about in this case? Dude, you cannot be serious right now. The world is watching. The world has third-hand embarrassment for you.
Start guessing about what the experts that the defense did not hire, but that the feds hired. Start guessing about what their credentials look like. Just start guessing now. Just start guessing now.
And you thought today was going to be boring.
The data don't lie, people do.
designed and developed a pressurized air cannon, so it was capable of firing a projectile such as a drinking glass at the taillight. So it essentially
You can see, look at his face. He's trying to keep from smiling.
It had a barrel, and then there was a valve that would open rapidly, and directly behind that was a pressurized vessel. And depending on the pressure, the PSI of that vessel, would determine essentially the speed at which that glass would be projected into the taillight.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm in love. Go back. Please do that again.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Cool job. Tell me what the results of your testing
He likes
was
his
with
job. I love
pneumatic
this
cannon that would fire. So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I bet he's so much fun to hang out with. And I also, at one time, built a potato gun to shoot out in the pasture. And also, the theory that they came up with about the drinking glass is something that I came up with. And I'm pretty sure that, that is just fate.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
Good job.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
That's a man who likes his job.
No kidding.
Oh, I'm so happy for him.
Dr. Wolf, I like you, bro. Let's get a beer sometime.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Good job. Tell me what the results of your testing was with this pneumatic.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Good job.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Good job. Tell me what the results of your testing was.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Good job. Tell me what the results of your testing was with this pneumatic cannon that would fire.
I love this guy.
Tell me what the results of your testing was with this pneumatic cannon.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Pretty awesome.
Good job.
Oh man, I love that.
There's also the idea of recording during the case down here for the people.
The two of them just turned into 13-year-olds and they're like, this is so fucking cool. To be fair, all of us just turned into 13-year-olds going, this is so fucking cool. I think what Alan Jackson said at the end of this was, that's a cool job. Sir, what do you do for a living? I get to make cannons and shoot things at cars and see at what speed it will break shit. Oh, you get to just scientifically break shit? Yes.
So you literally built a cannon?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Good job.
The data don't lie, people do.
We'll hear some testimony from Trooper Joseph Paul. He's in a specialized unit within the state police called Args for short, but essentially a collision analysis and reconstruction section within the Massachusetts State Police. His examination of the vehicle, his examination of the scene, his examination of specifically some Toyota texture, because Lexus is essentially owned by Toyota or vice versa. So there is some data that he's able to recover from that and back the vehicle up based on its known locations and travel, key cycles, and essentially he'll opine that around 12:45 in the morning when the vehicle was in front of the residence on Fairview, that for some perceptible period of time, that vehicle travels over 60 feet in reverse at over approximately 24.2 miles per hour.
So on Saturday, January 29th, 2022, at approximately 12:45.
So you can look at your report, but you can't read your report.
I was
So
reading my conclusions based on what they asked me to do. Okay.
yeah. So I can't hear you.
Sorry.
Okay. So just take your time, read your report, and then answer Mr. Lally's question. And if you need to look at your report, we'll see about that again.
All right.
Ask the question, Mr. Lally.
Based on the totality of your investigation, what, if any, conclusions did you come to with regard to how this collision occurred?
So this collision occurred on Saturday, January 29th, 2022, at approximately 12:45 hours.
Objection on it. Yeah.
It appears that.
So,
Sorry, I'm trying to oppose it.
You know what? Mr. Lally, break this down. Ask simple questions so that the witness can answer your questions. We don't need a narrative.
From your investigation, what, if any, conclusions did you come to as to where this collision occurred?
So, all right. So, on the night of Saturday, January 29th, 2022, at approximately 12:45 hours, a 2021 Lexus LX 570.
Can you slow down, sir?
Yes.
So forget all that part,
Okay.
Trooper.
All
Just
right.
answer the question.
Okay.
Where did it occur?
It occurred in the area of 34 Fairview Road.
The data don't lie, people do.
At 12:30 a.m., you have that second triggering event 8 minutes after the three-point turn when the vehicle's in reverse at 24.2 miles an hour.
Well, I do believe that's what Lally would call the two-card Monte Trick, right? Right up until Trooper Dunning-Kruger's testimony, he was maintaining it was 12:45 a.m. Even Trooper Dunning-Kruger was saying 12:45 a.m. And yet here we are at closing, he's saying 12:30 a.m. That's because Karen logged onto John's Wi-Fi system at 12:36, and that blew apart the 12:45 theory. And Lally can't even count to freaking 3.
I hit him, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him.
Remember all the testimony from witnesses who said Karen said, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him 3 times. Yet somehow Lally came up with 4.
And your job is to make sure you don't ever look the other way. Look the other way.
4 words that sum up their entire case. 4 words that sum up the hopes of those who tried to deceive you. Conflicts of interest doesn't matter. Look the other way. Magic hairs, magic glass. Look the other way. Late night calls and Google searches. Falsified affidavits, inverted videos, and butt dials galore. Just look the other way. That's what they want. That's what they're counting on. But the incontrovertible fact is you have been lied to. And your job is to make sure you don't ever look the other way. 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 4 words that sum up their entire case. 4 words that sum up the hopes of those who tried to deceive you. Conflicts of interest doesn't matter. Look the other way. Magic hairs, magic glass. Look the other way. Late night calls and Google searches. Falsified affidavits, inverted videos, and butt dials galore. Just look the other way. That's what they want. That's what they're counting on. But the incontrovertible fact is you have been lied to. And your job is to make sure you don't ever look the other way. Look the other way. Look the other way. Look the other way.
Look the other way. 4 words that sum up the Commonwealth's entire case. 4 words that sum up the hopes of those who have tried to deceive you. Conflicts of interest? Doesn't matter. Just look the other way. Magic hairs, magic glass. Look the other way. Late night calls and Google searches, falsified affidavits, inverted videos, and butt dials galore. Just look the other way. That's what they want. That's what they're counting on, but the uncontrovertible fact is you have been lied to in this courtroom. And your job is to make sure you don't ever look the other way.